This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website, Motorsport Radio.
Welcome back to the FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship for day 2 of round 2 here at Llandow. It's a sunny day again, and once again it's myself, Lewis Ray, and Alex Rizzoli in the commentary box. Morning, Alex.
Good morning, how are you doing? It's a lovely day, just like yesterday. If anything, it's going to be a little bit warmer today. On track at the moment, we have the warm-up for the Extreme 200s, which is just coming to an end, and then we are going to get going with the LC40 Elite Championship.
Yeah, certainly. The LC40 Championship starting off today's racing. It should be a good race. It should be close racing all day. It's not a massive field that we have this morning in the LC40 Elites, but just like yesterday, I'm sure we'll see some great racing. Yeah, absolutely. 11 bikes on the grid for the LC40 Elite Championship. And it's looking like a very, very interesting day today. You know, we had some fantastic racing yesterday. Really fantastic races, really close battles in practically all of the championships. So it's going to be a very, very interesting day, a very fun day. And because we had some drama a little bit yesterday, we had a red flag. We do have 5 races that were pushed from yesterday into today, which makes a total of 23 races. Now that is going to be mental. Yeah, it certainly is. We're here all day, folks. So warm-up is just finished now for the Extreme 200, so any minute now we'll be able to see the LC40 Elites make their way out on the track. So good morning if you're just joining us. Let us know down below of who you're supporting here today at Llandow for the FAB-Racing British Minibike Championships and what class they are racing in. Follow us on all our social medias to get updates throughout the day. And so we're just waiting for the first race to get underway right now. All classes this morning had their warm-ups, just 8 minutes in length, but it's plenty of time for them to get not only their bikes final checks in, but their bodies final checks, getting their brain up to speed, so then straight away for the first races today they can go out with a bang. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a fantastic day of racing. It's going to be jam-packed, full of action, full of lots of drama, and full of hopefully lots of good racing, lots of clean racing, it's going to be a fantastic day. So ladies and gents, if you are watching us, tweet us on Twitter. FAB-Racing and Motorsport Radio. Let us know who you're supporting. Let us know what championships you're into, and if not, then we have plenty of racing. If you're new to this championship. Yeah, if you're new to this championship, we have a mix of pretty much every single class you can think of and all different styles of motorcycles. The ones you're screaming right now are the Pit Bike 140s, the Extreme 200s, which have a mix of Pit Bike 140s and super motor style motorcycles, which are just making their way back to the pits. But also you have on your screen the mini motos of the LC40 Elites, which will be our first race today. So Alex, are you looking forward to this race? Tell us, who do you think is going to be battling up front? I'm really looking forward to this. So usually the people at the front of the grid mainly, so I'd kind of say maybe top 4, top 5 of this. Obviously the qualifying sessions that we had yesterday. Obviously, if you're new to this championship, how qualifying works and how the grids are set for these championships, and all of them, is there are 2 qualifying sessions. You've obviously got like Q1 and Q2, and whoever sets it's not so much the fastest time, it's the fastest combined time of both of those sessions. So the qualifying session sets the grid for all 3 races, so there's no reverse grid, there's nothing like that. Once you get your race 1 grid, that is the grid for the rest of the weekend. So as we're just waiting for the final few checks, here we go, here the bikes come onto the grid. So let's go for a rundown of the grid. We're going to have a warm-up lap as well, and look at them. All the riders are looking like they are ready to go racing for the first race of the day. This is obviously very, very exciting. It's the first race of the day. Obviously this race should have happened yesterday, but obviously unfortunately not, but we get them this morning. So let's do a rundown of the grid. On pole position is the number 27 of Austin Johnson. Second in the 199 is Philip Holhill. It's a very recognisable, it's a bright orange bike, you cannot miss it. In third place is Matthew Thomas, as we see Austin Johnson just making his way to the grid now in the blue, sort of fluoro green, blue and pink multicoloured leathers. Number 3, Matthew Thomas.
Number 4 is Sam Gardner in the number 56. Byron Johnson starts P5 in the 37. Liam Lindquist starts P6 in the number 14. Jensen Bishop in the number 11 starts P7. Chloe Gleason in P8, the number 25. And number 9, or 9th on the grid, is Oliver Hall in the number 3. Dylan Turian in P10. And rounding out the grid, win the triple one bike, Callum Maxwell starts P11. So it's looking like it's going to be a very, very, very interesting race. You know, these riders are very, very much looking forward to getting their bikes around the track, having some wheel-to-wheel racing, and it's going to be a very, very good race.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yesterday in qualifying, it was pretty close times all throughout. They've been waiting for this race for almost 24 hours now, and they have 3 races today, so it's something different for these riders that they're not used to. So it's going to be slightly different to see if maybe there's a surprise of 1 or 2 riders that may not usually be up front, but with the extra races that we have today, it may be able to get up front. Here is them making their way onto the grid with the paramedics and marshals, telling them to slow down before they come to the grid area to then hopefully get underway with this race. Of course, there's 2 brothers in this race, Austin Johnson and Byron Johnson. Both brothers are very, very similar looking bikes. It's quite confusing to watch. Same colour of helmets as well, with just a 2, 27 and 37, so just one number making the difference whenever you're watching them on screen. But I'm sure we'll guide you through it as we just wait to get final checks done in the grid before we can get the race underway, as we wait for the marshal to do the final checks before they do the point up to the lights, and everyone looks with anticipation. So here we go, race 1 of day 2 here at Llandow. We wait for the lights to go on. Let's wait. Red lights are on. Red lights are off, and we go racing here at day 2 at Llandow. A great start by Austin Johnson. Austin Johnson gets a great start in this race. Finlay Paul Hill also a great start, trying to chase and bridge up the gap straight away. They know that Austin Johnson has the pace, and if they let Austin Johnson get away and up front straight away and get in a rhythm, they know that it's going to be very, very difficult for them to catch up. Also a great start by Byron Johnson, the brother of Austin, who's up into 3rd. Started the race in 5th, which just shows that they are on it straight away, even though it's first thing in the morning for these riders.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the riders absolutely are prepared to go, and that is I think that is the 199 of Philip Holhill. Yes, it is. I think he's in 2nd place. Yes, he is. So far he's in position where he starts. So all these riders very, very close together, as we see there Austin Johnson, the first car to come into the final corner and go across the start finish. As we see a send there down on the inside. That was a great little move there. A very, very nice move there. So let's do a rundown. Austin Johnson second fastest lap on that first lap. He is in P1. Philip Holhill is in P2. Byron Johnson, as we said, brother of Austin Johnson, 2 Johnson brothers at 1st and 3rd. Sam Gardner has dropped down to 4th position. Liam Lindquist in P5. Philip Holhill there on the screen. In P6, Matthew Thomas. In P6, Chloe Gleason up to P7. Oliver Hall up to P8. Dylan Turian in P9. Jensen Bishop in P10. And Callum Maxwell in P11 in the 111.
Yeah, Finlay Paul had a massive moment 1 lap ago at very chicane. The bike just started shaking and wobbling, and I believe both feet came off the peg, so he was very, very lucky to stay on. You see the riders here just trying to get as tucked in as possible with keeping the right leg out, so it's just easier to go in to this final corner, which it screams dive bomb, as we said yesterday. It's such a great overtaking opportunity, is the final corner, which leads to some great last lap battles. This track, as we mentioned yesterday, is such a technical circuit, and has a bit of everything. It has fast corners, it has slow corners, it has multiple chicanes, it has hairpins, it has flat out corners, flat out kinks. It's a great circuit for these riders to learn their craft, because as we know, this is the top category of mini motos for the UK, and it's the best riders on the final step before they should hopefully progress on to the likes of the mini GP 50s and 70s.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from there, obviously, British Talent Cup, and it goes even from there. So we see the first of the riders there. We've got Austin Johnson on the first of the Spitfire straight, the straight that we absolutely love here in the comms box, as we see the riders coming down Spitfire straight. There we go, a little battle here, it looks like, between just can't see the name there. I think that's the number Liam Lindquist in the number 14 with Oliver Hall just behind him. So a fantastic little battle here. Yes, it is. Only 2.5 tenths separate these two riders. Can Oliver Hall do anything to get past Liam Lindquist? Is he going to be able to kind of a fake a move? Or maybe, in fact, it looks like here they're almost side by side coming into this section here. But I think, yeah, Liam Lindquist just stays ahead at this point.
Yeah, Oliver Hall showing some great pace in this race just straight away in this morning, first race of the day. Oliver Hall actually on the Friday, I believe he was testing a Mini GP 50, which although he cannot race yet due to his age, they allowed him to get some test days, and already on his second day on the bike, I believe, he's looking comfortable. Every single session you could see him getting more comfortable on these Mini GP 50s, which just shows how much these mini motos teach them, as although they do not have gears in a clutch, it teaches them basic of riding a motorcycle and what it feels like to get their knee down. So as soon as they go on the bigger bike, they're able just to go off out the gate straight away. And as we see, Finlay Paulhill has actually set the fastest lap of the race with 53.336, which was about almost 3 tenths faster than Austin Johnson. So although Austin Johnson's out front by, I believe, 1.5 seconds, this race is not over with just 4 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So 4 laps to go, 4 minutes currently elapsed. So let's see, who's got the close battles at the moment. The closest battle on track is still between Liam Lindquist and Oliver Hall with about 3 tenths, almost 4 tenths of a second there, as we see Austin Johnson going around the final corner and over the start-finish straight. He does take the fastest lap away from Finlay Paulhill with a 52.993. 2.1 seconds splits the first two, and so it's a gap of 4 seconds for the podium position. As we now see, Matthew Thomas has dropped back a little bit. That puts Liam Lindquist and Oliver Hall, and I think Matthew Thomas might have a problem because he's dropping down the order quite a lot. So I'm not too sure what's happened there, but everyone has currently been promoted to place. So Oliver Hall and Liam Lindquist moving to 5th and 6th. Paul Gleason up to P7. Dylan Torian is in P8. Jensen Bishop P9. Callum Maxwell in P10, and Matthew Thomas. Not too sure what has happened to that rider, but I'm sure we will manage to find it. So I'm just hearing that we did see a yellow flag somewhere, but I'm not too sure on the track, so I presume that was for Matthew Thomas. As we now see Austin Johnson completing another lap here, and yeah, there we go. That's nice to see. I think his parents just lifted him off, so it's good to see that he's all right. So I presume he's just gone off on one of the corners, but good to see that he is okay.
Yeah, Matthew Thomas was having a great race up to that point. He's very easy to see on track in his bright lime green coloured bike and levers. But massive disappointment for him, but I'm sure he should be able to make it out for race 2 and race 3, because of course, as we said earlier, these classes do have 3 races in one day, as Austin Johnson still leads the way with a 2.7 second gap as he comes down the back straight, the Spitfire straight, trying to get as tucked in as possible, making around this final corner. He's just trying to control this race at the moment. As we head on to the final lap of the race, you will see that yellow flag with a black cross. That informs the riders that it's the last lap of the race, so he'll be thinking, right, just get it home, and know I have a lead, and he's just trying to stay focused. It's so hard to stay focused when you're in the lead of the race, because one little slip up can mean your whole race is over in a matter of half a second, if that. So Austin Johnson is really pushing on at the moment. Actually, it seems as this is the last lap of the race. Finlay Paulhill is trying his hardest to catch up, close the gap, even though it's last lap of the race. It seems very unlikely. This is racing, this is motorsport, anything can happen. As he heads on to the final straight, the Spitfire straight, opening the throttle as hard as he can, going down to the final corner. What a fantastic victory from Austin Johnson. He has dominated this race, and he crosses the line with trying to pull a little wheelie on these little mini motos, with Finlay Paulhill coming in second, and Byron Johnson should be taking third, so it's a double Johnson podium.
Yeah, absolutely. A fantastic race for both brothers there. Also for Finley Polhill. Sam Gardner also with a very good race there, and a very close battle between Liam Lindquist and Oliver Hall. Liam Lindquist coming out on top there. Yeah, fantastic race, full of quite close racing. And here is the top 10. So Austin Johnson wins the race by just over 5 seconds, a smidge over 5 seconds. Finley Polhill takes P2. Warren Johnson finishes P3 on the podium. Sam Gardner just misses out on the podium, finishes P4. Liam Lindquist P5. Oliver Hall P6. Chloe Gleeson P7. Callum Maxwell P8. Dylan Torian down a few positions there in P9. Jensen Bishop in P10. And Matthew Thomas unfortunately didn't finish. But that was it for race 1 of the LC40 Elite class, which means that they have another 2 races ahead of them, as we see lovely Racing Respect there going down the Spitfire Straight. Yeah, there we can see Matthew Thomas's bike. I believe it is. I'm not too sure. Oh no, that is Dylan's bike. So I'm not too sure whether his bike has stalled or something like that. But we will. But yeah, we will see about that. So the fantastic race there, really good race. Lots of action packed, and that is, as I said, the first of 3 races for them today. So those riders are going to really be feeling this tomorrow morning, as we see the senior. Oh no, sorry, my mistake. That is the Mini GP50 Championship. Yeah.
Yeah, we see a rider just, I believe that is Dylan Torin, just waiting at the side of the track right now. I believe his bike may have stopped, but they're just trying to get, well, I believe they were trying to get started, but they can't get it started right now, so they're pushing it back to the pit lane where they'll hope to get it fixed. But yeah, it's the Senior Mini Motors next, which is something completely different for, well, if you never joined us in qualifying yesterday, it's something completely different to watch. If you only joined us for the races and never got to see race 1, because it didn't sadly happen yesterday, it's something completely different. I mean, Alex, yesterday when you first seen the Senior Mini Moto was in qualifying, just tell everyone what you thought.
Yeah, so this is my first weekend in regards to kind of bike racing, my first time in the FAB-Racing paddock. It's an absolutely lovely paddock, really a real nice family atmosphere, a lot of, it doesn't matter what series you're racing in, there's a lot of respect and a lot of people chatting to each other. It's absolutely lovely to see. But yeah, these bikes were incredibly fast, and it's a really interesting series to watch, because the other Mini Motor series, they're kind of under the age of the riders have to be under the age of, I think, about 13, and any riders over that are in this class, and there are 22 riders in this Senior Mini Motor Championship, and it does look absolutely incredible. It is certainly a very fun championship to watch. There's going to be lots of action. 22 riders on this grid, and we're just waiting for the red flag to go down, as I think Dylan Torian, I think that potentially is Jensen Bishop, not too sure, but yeah, we're just seeing him making his way back to the paddock as we are seeing the Mini Motors come on track now any second. The red flag in the pit lane should allow the drivers to get on the grid. So as we said, when they come onto the grid, there we go, we are seeing them come onto the grid. There you get we get a warm-up lap. So obviously, wasn't too sure whether these drivers would be getting a warm-up lap, or whether riders would or would not be getting a warm-up lap. A few races yesterday I don't think did have a warm-up lap. So we're just seeing that's Craig Ashall there, just checking a few things on the grid, as you see Josh Birkin there just lining up in P2. So as I think all the riders are here. I think we might be missing maybe 1 or 2 riders on the grid. I'm not too sure there seems to be a bit of a gap, kind of down in 15th here, or somewhere around there. Here we go. So wow, all of the riders, look at all that two-stroke oil smoke in the background, absolutely sensational. So 22 riders start on this grid. Craig Ashall in the AC1 starts on pole position. Josh Birkin starts P2 in the number 2, just alongside him. Will Howard starts P3, and Matt Birkin, my apologies, starts P4. Holly Harris, the British Talent Club rider, starts P5. Nick Bennett starts P6 in the 711. Mark Payne in the number 18 starts P7 alongside Chris Yeomans in P8. Reece Gentry starts P9 and David Wyatt starts P10. Ross Michael starts P11. Callum White alongside him on the 6th row of the grid starts P12. Keaton Payne starts P13 with Lamar Morgan starting in P14. Lewis King starts P15 alongside Shannon King there in P16. Elliot Seal starts P17. Ruby Wild starting P18. Robert Kitely starting P19. Paul Bayliss starts P20. Steve Johns P21. Rob Gentry rounds up the grid and finishes P22. So as we see the first of the riders kind of coming onto the grid, not too sure what is going on there. Just seeing a bit of a yellow flag there, not too sure. I think all the riders are coming onto the grid, I think. Yeah, all the riders prepared and revving their engines, ready to go for this race. So it's looking like it's going to be a very, very exciting race. All of them just trying to get on things. So it seems to be Josh Birkin on pole position. So not too sure what's happened there, but let's have a look at the lights. Just waiting for them to go on now. There we go. The red light is on. It's lights out and go, go, go. It seems to be, I think it was that Craig Ashell who gets a very good start. Josh Birkin slots in second in battle for P3 there between Will Howarth and Matt Birkin there. Who has come out? I believe that is Will Howarth, I think, that has come out P3 there. With Matt Birkin there. Obviously the two Birkin brothers, Josh Birkin and Matt Birkin. There, it seems to be on the time sheet. Holly Harris up to third place. Absolutely sensational there. A very, very good start from her. So we're just having a look at the drivers now. Seems to be going wheel to wheel at this. Look at this battle for second place. Oh wow, that is getting very, very close as they come through the chicane here to go on to the Spitfire straight. Let's see if any of these riders can get a slipstream or potentially might even be able to make a move into the first corner. Let's have a look. Can any of the drivers? Oh, it's very, very close indeed as they all go over the line for the first time. So Will Howarth, obviously, as I said, leads this race. Josh Birkin in P2. Matt Birkin, so the two Birkin brothers together on the podium places at this time is in P3. Holly Harris is in P4. Nick Bennett P5. Craig Ashell P6. Mark Payne P7. Chris Yeomans P8. David Miat P9 and Reece Gentry P10.
Yeah, just so it's like Matt Birkin's went a bit wide at the first chicane there, letting Holly Harris pass. So Holly Harris is now in the podium positions. She'll be absolutely delighted with that, but she'll be not thinking too much about that as she has Josh Birkins just in front of her. So right now she's in a Birkin sandwich. So she's looking towards the insides of Josh Birkins there, but Will Howarth still leads the way. Will Howarth is just trying to get as tucked in as possible, just like all the riders, but Holly Harris looks to be lining up a move. Will she make it? No, she cannot. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, she had to back out of that move. Josh Birkin's taking a very defensive line through that final corner, but Holly Harris is looking up the inside, going to the first corner there at the chicane. Holly Harris looks like she has some great pace in the senior mini moto class, but talking about Holly Harris, she's actually set the fastest lap of the race with a 53.5, 3/10 faster than Josh Birkins in front of her. So Holly Harris clearly has the pace here. So the question is, Alex, can this be her day?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, she's got absolutely incredible pace, it seems. You know, she's moved up into third place. She's got the fastest lap. So let's see what she can do, whether she can actually chase down Josh Birkin to take P2 even. That would be absolutely sensational if she do that. Look at the... Oh! And that is Josh Birkin that slid, and he very, very well saved it. Kept the clutch in. Only a little bit of a slide, but that puts Holly Harris, just as we were talking about her, into P2. This is an absolutely sensational effort from her. Can she even chase down Will Howarth for the lead? This could be absolutely sensational if she can do that, and the pace is looking absolutely incredible. Will Howarth leads Holly Harris by 0.8 of a second. Matt Birkin will Josh Birkin will not be happy with that. He's slid down to P4. His brother Matt has actually overtaken him. Obviously Craig Ashell in P5, but this battle for the top four is the battle that we are going to be watching. Here we are. So there is only 3.5 seconds between first and fourth position as we see Holly Harris actually starting to make a little bit of a gap to Matt Birkin, trying to chase down Will Howarth in the number 96. That number 15 bike is really, really working well for her this way and that way as Matt Birkin closes up a little bit through that, but let's see who can get the better exit onto the back of the Spitfire straight. Will Howarth leads by a healthy advantage trying to get any advantage he can to get a little bit of a pace advantage. Holly Harris doing really, really well there, going over the line. Will Howard sets the fastest lap of the race, a 53.392, which is actually only a few tenths off the lap record there. Obviously, the lap record is only it only counts, or it can only be set in the race, not practice nor qualifying sessions. But this is a fantastic battle as we now see Matt Birkin on the back of Holly Harris. Can Holly Harris do anything? Can she maybe get a better defensive line through these corners, as that is Josh Birkin trying to make up for that mistake earlier, trying to get past his brother, as we see Matt Birkin piling on the pressure onto the back of Holly Harris, but she looks like she gets a little bit of an advantage there. Let's see if she can hold it down the straight. He's gone a little bit closer there. Let's see. Oh, they are going wheel to wheel almost. Is he going to be able to make a send into the last corner? Yes, he does. Wow, what a send from Matt Birkin. That puts him in second place there. Holly Harris still in the podium positions. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, Holly Harris is going to try to get past Matt Birkin straight away. As soon as Matt Birkin gets in a rhythm, he may just clear off. But Josh Birkins will be trying as hard as he can to recover from his mistake, because if you were not watching the coverage at Lids, it is known that one of the Birkins brothers usually has a tip-off at least some point in a race. As we see, a rider is down there and he's done the thumbs up, so he is okay, which is great to see. But we're just waiting. There may be a yellow flag out there, so overtaking may not be happening at this section of the track. I believe that maybe Lamar Morgan is sliding down the order at the moment, but we'll tell you when we get official confirmation on that. But Holly Harris is still in third place right now, piling on the pressure of Matt Birkins. Will Howarth still leads the way. Will Howarth right now has no competition but himself. Will Howarth, as we know, is racing in multiple classes this weekend, so he's getting great bike time and great amount of time on this track, so he will know this track like the back of his hand at the end of today, with him 3 races in the senior mini motos and 2 races on the moto team. So Will Howarth still leads the way through this technical hairpin type section, leading on to a couple fast right-handers. Holly Harris still in third, not too with the fastest lap, as mentioned earlier by Alex, not too far off the lap record, which of course is set by Bernie Hook, Mr. Minimoto, who everyone here at FAB does misses. So Bernie, if you're watching at home, please join us for one round, one final hurrah, as we see Will Howarth trying to make his way through back markers as we head on to the last lap of this race. So here we go, on to the last lap of the race. The last lap flag is out. Will Howarth, number 96, on the distinct black bike, black levers, with a red and black helmet, leads the way. Matt Birkin's just behind, not too far off, a 1.3 second gap, so Will Howarth will just want to try and control this pace for this final lap of the race. Holly Harris will take a third. She'll be very happy and pleased with that, but she'll be wanting to try and get a better start in race 2. She knows that she is the pace, so if she can try tag on the back of Will Howarth in race 2, I wouldn't be surprised if she'd be up front. But Will Howarth has dominated this race as he heads through the final section of the track before he heads onto the Spitfire straight on his final lap. Final section of the track, see another rider is down there, looks to be coming out the final corner, as Will Howarth makes his way through the final corner, through the yellow flags to finish the race, finishing first. He'll be absolutely delighted with that. Will Howarth takes the win here in race 1 in the senior mini motos, with Matt Birkins in second and Holly Harris will be delighted with a third.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, fantastic action-packed race as per usual with these mini motors. Absolutely fantastic to see that, and a fantastic battle between Holly Harris and Matt Birkin there for P2. But Josh Birkin might be kicking himself after that. You know, it was the most gentle of slides, and he just obviously managed to keep clutching, but he just lost maybe 1 or 2 seconds there. But that unfortunately lost in the podium. So top 10 rundown. Will Howarth wins the race just ahead of Matt Birkin. Holly Harris takes a fantastic podium there for P3. Josh Birkin in P4. And there seems to be a few riders down in the final corner. Josh Birkin in P4. Craig Ashall in P5. They're all right. Yep, they're up. Craig Ashall in P5. Chris Yeomans finishes P6. Nick Bennett in P7. Mark Payne in P8. Ross Michael P9. Keaton Payne in P10. Callum White finishes P11. Lamar Morgan P12. Then it is Shannon King in P13, Elliot Seal in P14, Ruby Wild P15, Robert Kitley in P16, Paul Bayliss in P17, Rob Gentry P18, Steve Johns P19, David Miat, I think might have been the rider who fell a little bit early in the race, potentially Reece Gentry as well in P20 and 21, and Lewis King rounds out the final finishers. Yeah, a really good action-packed race. You know, it was full of drama as per usual, as I said with these races, and it was a very kind of interesting race to watch, Lewis.
Yeah, it certainly was. It's what we expect for the senior mini motos. Was action all the way through. They're pushing each other to the limits, as although the riders are best friends off the track, of course. Yeah, on track, they're absolutely ruthless, as you've seen, and they just push the bikes and themselves to the absolute limit, as we're still under red flag conditions right now. But it'll be very interesting to see how much this weekend can swing in Will Howarth's way, because, of course, going into this round, he had a 13-point advantage over Matt Birkins in the championship. So he'll want to extend that lead, so hopefully he can come to round 3 in Ella Park, of course, and straight away have a nice lead in the championship, which will take a bit of pressure off him and will let him relax.
Yeah. You know, it was again, as we keep saying, it was a fantastic race there, and a fantastic win for Will Howarth. And if you're just joining us, we are just currently under red flag conditions, but yeah, fantastic sort of first two races of the day from yesterday, and yeah, it's looking to be a very fun weekend. You know, if you're watching this, tweet us, send us a message, maybe even tweet us, and you could get a shout out if you want. Maybe somebody who's listening to this, maybe if you're here and you want to shout out someone, then tweet us, and we will try and get that done for you. But yeah, the next race after this red flag clears up will be the Mini GP 50s. So these are kind of the first of the bigger bikes today. So the mini motors are, well, as they sound, a lot smaller than usual motorbikes, but these Mini GP 50s, the GP 50s and the GP 70s are where we start to get to the bigger bikes, like actual race bikes.
Yeah, it certainly is. The mini motors are much more twist and go, basically. It almost works like a moped. You just twist the throttle, no gears, no clutch, nothing really to worry about, apart from riding the bike, which is what is great about them, because it does give riders that are younger on these mini motors time to be able to develop their actual riding skills without having to worry too much about a motorcycle and how to actually handle it, as all you need to do is twist the throttle and use the brakes. While these Mini GP 50s and 70s are two-stroke beasts. It's probably the fastest bikes you can ride around these kart circuits. They have a gearbox, a clutch, and they're really fast for these young riders. I mean, the Mini GP 50s can reach up to speeds of 80 miles per hour, which is just insane. If you're 9-year-old going 80 miles per hour, I can't even imagine what that feels like for these riders. But the Mini GP 50s, last time out on lead, was a crazy race, is the only real way to say it. The lap record got broken, I think, 2 or 3 times in one race, one after another. Marco Holt, of course, in this class, is feeling comfortable on his Mini GP 50, but it's not his main aim this year. As Marco Holt, which you'll be able to see soon with the distinctive Minion helmet, he was using the Mini GP 50s last year, so he already knows what it feels like to ride the bike, but now he's focusing on the 70s, which is slightly different to ride. You need to ride it slightly differently just because they added a little bit more weight and a little bit more power, so you just need to change your riding style slightly, which is quite difficult to do, to ride both the 50s and the 70s in the same day. Just almost flick a switch and change your riding style. As we have a look and see people looking and waiting for these Mini GP 50s to come out on circuit. Of course, FAB has a great community with many people at trackside right now looking on as we see the rider walking off, which is great to see. And it's great for the paramedics and medics at this track, and all the marshals that do a superb job here, and frankly do not get enough credit. They're the unsung heroes of motorsport. So it's great to see them doing their job and making sure all riders are safe, because without them we cannot go racing.
No, absolutely, yeah. Completely unsung heroes. None of us would be able to do racing and do what we love without these volunteers and these really incredible people. And so welcome. We are finally back. We are finally under kind of green flag conditions now. The red flag has been cleared, which is absolutely lovely to see. And welcome to the FAB-Racing British Bike Championship on the road to MotoGP. If you want to get to MotoGP or BSB, this is where you start. If you want to get your child into it, or maybe your child wants to get into biking, this is the place to do it. So as we are kind of waiting for, as we said, the mini GP50s to come out on track. These will sound incredible because they are 2-stroke liquid-cooled 50cc engines, 6% more power than the actual mini motos. The championship we just watched has got a 6-speed gearbox, manual clutch, and obviously, as Lewis said, capable of 80 miles an hour. These drivers on these these riders on the bike can be anywhere between the ages of 9 and 15, but actually, riders can be aged 8 if they've completed 6 full rounds in pros or elites and quote-unquote, according to the regulations, shown good ability. But obviously, final decision is down to the organisers of these championships. The 12-inch wheels on these bikes look incredible as well. Hydraulic front and rear disc brakes, and this is the LS2. The LS2 helmets are the thing, but. It's fantastic. They are coming up later. That is the LS2 helmets for the mini GP 70 class, which will be fantastic to see. It's lovely to have them as a title sponsor for the 70 championship. So if you are joining us, let us know on social media what you're up to, where you're watching from, which riders you're supporting, which championships you're watching, and maybe you're in the paddock now. Maybe you're listening to us instead of listening to the bikes on track. As we now see, yes, all the bikes are getting started up now. The red flag is almost going to be dropped, which signifies that the riders can come out onto the track.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we're just waiting for the riders to get released from the holding area. It's not a massive grid here in the mini GP50s, but I'm sure it'll provide some great racing. We see Bailey Lawrence on your screen, Finlay Paul there on the orange KTM looking motorcycle. There's so much talent in this class. Although there's not a lot of riders, there's a lot of talent, as we see in these mini GP classes. Because as mentioned by Alex, it is usually the last step, the mini GP 50s and 70s, before you can go into championships such as the British Talent Cup, which FAB-Racing has done amazing in. I mean, at one point there was over 60% of the riders on the British Talent Cup grid that was from FAB. I mean, it just shows that it clearly works. These bikes clearly teach the riders what they need to know about racing a motorcycle to be able to gain their competence and get competent whenever they're racing. But we're just waiting for the riders to get released on their one warm-up lap that they'll get here at Llandow. You see on your screen there Marco Holt, the distinctive Minion helmet. Just next to him, Archie O'Brien with the distinctive Spider-Man helmet. It's very easy to identify. Bill Harris is in third on the red and white Metrokit bike. Luke Fitchett in fourth, Finlay Paulhill fifth, Frankie Watson sixth, Harley Baker on the blue and black 24 bike in seventh, and Bailey Lawrence rounds out the grid on the 09 pink bike. So as mentioned, it's great talent in this class. It's so great to see so much up and coming talent coming from the United Kingdom, because the past couple of years Grand Prix racing has been a little bit lacking from with British talent, but now it is becoming far more healthier thanks to systems such as the Michael Laverty Vision Track Academy, which many of these riders are sponsored under and are run under their banner, which gives them extra coaching and helps them develop further. And of course we have riders such as Scott Ogden, part of the Motor3 Vision Track team that has came from FAB-Racing actually, that is now racing in the Motor3 World Championship. So it's just great to see so many young riders be able to make it all the way from FAB, because of course Scott Ogden 2016 was fighting for the championship, and now he's a the MotoGP pack, so it just shows its works. So here we go, we're waiting. They're all on the grid now. Nerves are building, tension's building. Can cut the tension with a knife. We're waiting for the marshals to do their final checks, get all the bikes running. Get all the revs are gonna go firing up. Point to the lights. We wait for the red lights to turn on, and we wait. We stare. Red lights are on. Red lights are off, and we go racing here at Llandow for the Mini GP 50s. Bad start there from Archie O'Brien, with Luke Fitchett being able to get past him in second place, but Marco Holt leads the way. Marco Holt storms away, trying to bridge a gap with Luke Fitchett, who came all the way from fourth on the grid. So great start from Luke Fitchett straight out the gate. Archie O'Brien will want to try and get past straight away. As you can see, he's just looking round up the inside the line, trying to get past him straight away. But Finlay Paulhill is in fourth right now. That is a great start there from the rider. Another Bill Harris from third has dropped to fifth right now, so he will want to try and get his place, as many places back in his first couple laps. But as we see, Archie O'Brien he's desperate to get past straight away in this first lap of the race with the distinctive Spider-Man helmet. Of course, a two-time champion last year in FAB-Racing in both the LC40 Elites and the AC40 Pros. He has so much talent. He's so much talent packed in this class. It is awesome to see. But Mark Holt still leads the way, setting a 52 on his first lap, with Luke Fitchett still in second place, holding, defending from Archie O'Brien. Archie O'Brien, you see the screen there, best lap of 52.566. He's trying his hardest. He's pushing the bikes to his limit. He's pushing the tyres to the limit. He's trying a slightly wider line there for the hairpin, trying to get more corner speed.
Yeah, these riders really trying to go for it there. As we can see, Archie O'Brien really trying to go this way and that way to try and get past Luke Fitchett, but Luke Fitchett is not having any of it. He's trying to get pace, but blooming heck, Archie O'Brien is really on the limit there, trying to get past it. Is he going to be able to get the slipstream? Luke Fitchett goes defensive, but it looks like Archie O'Brien might go side by side. No. Luke Fitchett just manages to hold on to that position. I say that, but they are tooth and nail together. It is faring to rear wheel on these bikes right now. They are so close to each other. Marco Holt sets the fastest lap of the race with a 50.60. The lap record is actually set by Marco Holt, which was set on last year here at Llandow. Was a 49.097 seconds. So still a fair way to go before we reach that. But we are still seeing Archie O'Brien giving it his damnedest, trying to get past Luke Fitchett. Luke Fitchett just putting his bike in exactly where it needs to be. Archie O'Brien still looking this way and that way. Fitchett then goes inside, but that is going to be interesting. That is Archie O'Brien trying to swing it around the outside. But what he might do here is try and get the cutback. Is he going to be able to? They are so close to each other. This is absolutely fantastic, but just misses out there. Archie O'Brien really piling on the pressure on the back of Luke Fitchett. Can Luke Fitchett hold on? We have 7 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and whoa, they are on the inside, the outside, and it is Archie O'Brien who goes past Luke Fitchett for second place. What an inevitable move.
Yeah, Archie O'Brien just piled on as much pressure as possible. They're showing this front wheel whenever he could, and eventually Luke Fitchett broke. Luke Fitchett sat up the bike slightly there midway through the corner. I believe he may have even touched the grass slightly, but Luke Fitchett's still on the bike. He's just going to collect his head, hopefully, and then just try and push and do the exact same to Archie O'Brien as what he did to him. Archie O'Brien, I noticed on that last lap, was trying to go around the outside, but he was just taking the normal racing line, while Luke Fitchett was going to take an inside line to cover off Archie O'Brien. So he was using his head trying to defend as much as possible. But of course, whenever Archie O'Brien is piling on that much pressure for so many laps, it's difficult not to break. But Marco Holt is still up front with 50.3 now, with a 2.1 second gap. Marco Holt is up front, clear of everyone else. Marco Holt, of course, as mentioned earlier, is racing in 2 classes this weekend, both the Mini GP 50s and 70s. So he's getting a lot of bike time around this Llandow circuit. But it is great conditions for these riders today, so hopefully as the day goes on, the track gets hotter, it gets more rubber down, we may see lap records start to get broken, as we've seen yesterday in the motor team class. But Mark Holt still leads the way with just 5 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Marco Holt still trying to go faster and faster, but as I say that, Archie O'Brien breaks into the 49-second mark on that last lap, the 49.841, only 8 tenths off the lap record set by frontman Marco Holt. So there could even be a little battle for who gets first place. There we go. We can see Marco Holt on screen having an absolutely dominant race so far. Maybe the minions on his helmet are giving him a little bit of a boost and giving him some more pace potentially. Archie O'Brien is pulling away a little bit from Luke Fitchett now. Currently a gap of 1.4 seconds. Archie O'Brien has a 1.7 gap to Marco Holt ahead. And with 5 laps to go, or very nearly 4 laps to go, as we see the leaders coming down Spitfire Straight. What an absolutely lovely name there. There we go. We see Marco Holt and Archie O'Brien actually starting to close the gap onto the back of Marco Holt. Could we see a fantastic comeback from Archie O'Brien? Let's have a look. Luke Fitchett has now dropped off from the back of Archie O'Brien with a gap of 2.8 seconds and 4 seconds to Marco Holt.
Yeah, but Marco Holt still leads the way, but the gap's just 1.2 seconds, as you mentioned. Archie O'Brien is less than 2/10 off the lap record. As we see a rider down there, it looks to be Frankie Watson, I believe. Has had a little incident there, but it looks like they're just trying to get the bike bump started again, get them going in the race. It looks like they've got the bike started, so it depends if he will just go back into the pit lane and call it a race, or if he'll be able to continue depending on how damaged the bike is. But as mentioned, that is Frankie Watson, best lap of 54. So although not winning pace right now, he's still trying to learn the bike, get more comfortable on the bike, and it just all the way from first to last, it's just great to see. But Archie O'Brien has set the fastest lap of the race, and I believe he's got past Marco Holt, setting a 49.1. We do apologise that I not call it there, but Marco Holt is now in second place. Marco Holt is going to try and retaliate straight away, but Archie O'Brien, from this race, as soon as he got past Luke Fitchett, just looked like he's shown some amazing pace. And the question is now, can Marco Holt make a comeback, and can Marco keep up with him?
Absolutely, absolutely. That move came out of absolutely nowhere. What a sensational move there. Archie O'Brien. And there we go. So we see Marco Holt try to go the inside. They go too wide. It's the final corner and around it. And it is going to be Marco Holt with the minion helmet who retakes the lead of this race. Absolutely sensational race there. Fantastic, fantastic. Marco Holt there retaking the lead, as we now see tooth and nail going through a few back markers here. Still faring to rear wheel between these. That is the way that Archie O'Brien likes to race, it seems. He likes to leave everything out on track and absolutely go for the win. It would be fantastic. You know, we have 2 laps to go in this race. Marco Holt doing a very, very impressive job. Archie O'Brien again, but look at this run now as they come onto the back on the Spitfire Straight. Yes, they do. Is Archie O'Brien manages going to send it down the inside? No, he backs out just before the final corner as we come onto the last lap of this race. Is it going to be a last lap send for Archie O'Brien? Let's have a look between him and Marco Holt. Is he going to be able to send one down the inside? Is Marco Holt going to be able to? Is he going to be able to? Is he going to be able to overtake him? Let's have a look. It's going to be sensational between these two. Is he going to? Oh, well, they go side by side almost coming through this part of the track now. Absolutely sensational, these two riders putting on what a show for everyone here as they come into this chicane here. O'Brien needs to make a really, really good move here. He needs to just get the run down the Spitfire Straight. Is it going to be all or nothing? I think he's going to send it. Is he going to send it? I think he might just back out. But what an amazing thing. But they go side by side. Who's going to win? It's going to be Marco Holt who wins from Archie O'Brien. Wow. 2/10 as they cross the line there. That was absolutely sensational as Luke Fitchett takes the final podium position. Lewis, what a race between Marco Holt and Archie O'Brien.
Yeah, that was an incredible race. Marco Holt played it perfectly there at the last corner. He got his brake marker absolutely perfect, which then forced Archie O'Brien to then try and get a cut back to try and get a better drive at that final corner. But the start-finish line is so close to the final corner here that he just couldn't get enough of a drive. But Marco Holt absolutely delighted in the Marco Simoncelli inspired levers. But as we see, Marco Holt wins the race with a best lap of 49.7 with Archie O'Brien in second. Luke Fitchett takes third with Bill Harris in fourth. Finlay Paul Hill in fifth with Harley Baker in sixth. Bailey Lawrence in seventh, and Frankie Watson rounding out the grid in 8th, which we've seen has a small little tip-off there. Marco Holt punching the air of delight right now. He is absolutely delighted. We can see the camaraderie that we have here at FAB-Racing. People coming over to congratulate him just before we see the other bikes in the holding area, which will be our next race.
Absolutely. You know, if there's something that race proves, is that you do not need a big grid of cars to have fantastic racing. Absolutely fantastic bikes there. Absolutely fantastic bikes there. These are really, really, really cool bikes to watch. And as we've just seen, fantastic racing there. What an absolute finish for Marco Holt there. Archie O'Brien setting the fastest lap of the race with a 49.146, which is only about a tenth off of the lap record set by Marco Holt. So these two riders are going tooth to nail in this championship. It'll be absolutely sensational to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, it certainly will. As we have a look in the holding area right now with the Extreme 200 class. This should be the last race that we should have ran yesterday. But here we have the next race, which are finally being released onto the grid area. There's Charlie Nesbitt on your screen right now. Yeah, as you can see, the grid goes quite far back, so some riders actually have to turn right going outside the pit lane. This being a complete different class to the Pit Bike 140s, as although there still is Pit Bike 140s in this race, we do have other styles of supermotos, and I believe there's also a Metrica in this class. So it's just a different type of engine, different type of bike that allows completely different types of racing in this class. But as we see the riders right now just waiting on the grid, final checks are done on the grid, checking that everyone is in their correct positions. But I believe Charlie Nesbitt and another rider there at the back of the grid is doing it for a bit of fun to make their way throughout the grid. So we'll wait and see as we see some stretches there from Charlie Nesbitt at the back. Get themselves ready for this race. As we see in the front row there, Rossi Banham and Philip Sorowiak on the front row of the grid, so it should be a great race. They're joking with the marshals at the circuit, saying they've been waiting a long time, but it's great to see. Jake Archer, I also believe, is one of the other riders starting at the back of the grid.
Yeah, absolutely sensational. So I believe they are just starting at the back for a bit of fun, which I can't ever say I've seen before. So this should be an absolutely fantastic race. Again, it's something that I've never seen before. I'm actually quite shell-shocked by that. It should be a fantastic race. We'll see where Jake Archer and Charlie Nesbitt. Keep your eyes on them two. Jake Archer in the number 44 and Charlie Nesbitt in the number 86, starting out the back for this race. It's going to be a good race, I feel. You know, these Extreme 200s are fantastic. You know, these are powered by 2 strokes or maybe even 4 strokes. They are so kind of like pit bike open machines, so they're open to any pit bike style machine. So yeah, as we see the grid, Philip Sorowiak starts in pole position with Rossi Banham in P2. Reese Peacock starts P3. Zach Turin starts P4. Ollie Walker starts P5. Chris Wells P6. Jack Andrews P7. Obviously Charlie Nesbitt starts at the back. Noah Gully starts P9. Jamie King P10. Sean Whittaker starts P11. Jake Archer at the back. Adam Redding P13 and Clayton Edmonds in P14.
Oh yeah, it should be a great race. Philip Sorowiak has been looking great every single day I've watched him. He's been so fast, so it's going to be interesting to see if Rossi Banham can keep up. But Jake Archer and Charlie Nesbitt starting at the very back of the grid for last place. I've never seen that happen before. I believe I have actually with Kershaw and Clark in a sidecar race, but also British riders. So it's going to be great to see if these British Championship riders can make their way up the grid and see how far they can make up the grid. As we wait, we point up to the lights, we wait for the red lights to go on. All riders are getting the revs up of their motorcycles. Red lights are on, red lights are off, and we go racing here at Llandow. Philip Sorowiak makes an excellent start with Rossi Banham getting pushed down to 3rd. I believe that is Zach Turin that is taking 2nd place on the 2-stroke KTM. So right now, with 2nd and 3rd, it's 2-stroke versus 4-stroke. But it's a great start by Philip Sorowiak that he's going to be trying to get out of the gate, as fast as he can, because he knows if Rossi Banham can get any inch near him, he will send up the inside and it will completely destroy his rhythm. But another bike to look out for is Noah Gilroy. Noah Gilroy is on a Metro kit within the Supermoto bikes. It outlines how open this class is. So if you have a bike somewhat similar to this at home, you can come racing here, and you'll see in this race it's excellent racing. As we come down Spitfire Straight, Philip Sorovic does the doctor's dangle to finish the first lap, as we see a move getting made there with one of the bikes, but Philip Sorovic leads away with a 49.9 out of the gate. That is an incredible lap time.
Yeah, really, really incredible lap time. I think it's about three seconds or so off the lap record, but obviously that was just the first lap. So, top 10, Philip Sorovic is currently leading from Zach Turin, who had a very good start. Rossi Banham now down to 3rd position. Reece Peacock in P4, Jack Andrews P5, Ollie Walker P6, and this is looking very interesting as we now see Rossi Banham, I believe, it might have gone up a position there. No, I'm not too sure. The 196 is getting chased by, I believe that's the 29 of Reece Peacock, as we now see them coming onto the back of the Spitfire Straight. Philip Sorovic with a commanding lead at the moment. That's Zach Turin there, and Rossi Banham and Reece Peacock are having a sensational little battle here. Reece Peacock trying to find this way and that way, trying to challenge Rossi Banham in some way, shape or form. Rossi Banham, look at that, getting so close to the ground on both of them, but Reece Peacock keeping a lot tighter, but it seems to be working for him. He does seem to be going quite a bit faster. Rossi Banham on the back of I'm not sure whether that's about Marco or Zach Turin, I'm not too sure, but it is an incredible little battle there. Yeah, that is Zach, that is the number 89. So this battle here for P2 between Zach Turin, Rossi Banham and Reece Peacock is going to be a fascinating battle to watch over the next 9 laps.
Yeah, it certainly is. Philip Sorovic still leads away. His last lap was a 48.5, but riders that we haven't mentioned just yet is of course Charlie Nesbitt and Jake Archer. Charlie Nesbitt's all the way up to 9th position from the back of the grid, and Jake Archer is up to 12th. That is an amazing start from these riders with 8 laps to go. They may even get a top 5. It's just crazy to see how fast these riders are and how great and how close all these motorcycles are. As we see that Philip Sorovic still leads the way, he's commanding this race right now, and there is Charlie Nesbitt making it past even more traffic. Charlie Nesbitt, it's amazing. It's honestly amazing. He started all the way at the back of the grid, and not even that, the rider in front of him had to, Charlie Nesbitt is down. Charlie Nesbitt is down on the deck. He's up straight away. Joan Mir style at Le Mans last year, but Charlie Nesbitt, he's pushed so hard. He started from the back of the grid. He knew it was a massive challenge, but you just push too hard, and that is what happens. It bites. Yeah, absolutely gutting from that. Absolutely gutting. Almost like it's the commentator's curse there, unfortunately for us. And that is the number 114, I believe. I can't. Number 14. I think, I'm not too sure, but that seems to be dropping down. But that is Jack Andrews as well, who is stopped at the side of the track, as we see this battle between Rossi Banham and Reece Peacock now having a fantastic little scrap there. As we were saying, absolutely gutting. Absolutely got in there, but that is bike racing, and these two are absolutely tooth to nail now, as we see Philip Sorovic just absolutely walking away from the pack at the moment. This is a fantastic battle here. There we go. Absolutely sensational. There goes a back marker, and here is the battle for P2. This is a fantastic little battle between Banham and Peacock over the line. Only a tenth separates these two riders at the moment again, and we can have 2 fantastic finishes in 2 races. Wow, look at that! Rossi Banham's knee completely on the floor. Look how committed he is to just plunging every thousandth of a second to try and walk away from Peacock, but Peacock is not letting him out of his sights. But Rossi Banham is trying to do a Valentino Rossi and push that bike to its absolute limit. What a sensational set of corners there. What a sensational thing to watch, just to see the dedication there as we see them going down Spitfire Straight. Rossi Banham does stay in
P2 with Peacock trying to close up as they go over the line. Let's see what the lap, the gap is. It's gone up to 0.4 of a second, but they still are tooth to nail.
Yeah, Rossi Banham, of course, is a junior superstock rider racing the British Superbike Championships. So it's great to see these riders coming back. They're able to teach the younger riders especially on how to become better at racing and how to get better racecraft. So it's great to see them come back. It just shows the level of the FAB-Racing Championship, the fact that these types of riders still come back, even if it is just for a bit of fun and to teach other people. They still see the need to come back and have some fun. But Charlie Nesbitt, although he did fall, he's only in 12th. So he can still get a top 10 out of this race with just 5 laps to go. And Jake Archer's now just made it up to 8th, past Sean Whittaker. But Philip Sorowiak leads the way, set the fastest lap of the race that time around with 48.5, with a 7.5 second lead. Now, it is amazing to see this KTM 2-stroke that he's on is so hard to get right and tune perfectly, but whenever they do work, it is, you can see it. It's singing and dancing. It is great to see here. It's of course a British Talent Cup rider, like many riders that come from FAB-Racing the British Talent Cup, and he's just so talented. You can see the confidence that he has in the motorcycle, throwing it about, placing it on his knee, going down the Spitfire straight, trying to tuck in as much as possible on his supermoto style bike, doing the Rossi dangle, back wheel skipping off the ground as he comes into the final corner, going across the line with just 3 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Philip Sorowiak is on it, absolutely on it. This race, you know, he's got they've just passed the line now. He's got an 8.6 second lead on Rossi Banham and Reece Peacock. Obviously Banham and Peacock having a fantastic battle as well, which is going to help Sorowiak as we are now watching. That is one of the number 12 there, I think that was. But yeah, Jake Archer just crossed the line now, who obviously started from the back. A fantastic little battle there. Fantastic battle as we're still watching the Banham Peacock scrap here. Who is going to come out on top? They both have, I think, sort of similar colours. I think Peacock is the rear bike on that, as we see. That is, I think that's Jack Andrews, I think, who is, just having a little bit of, oh no, sorry, that's Sean Whittaker. That's Sean Whittaker in P9, so inside the top 10. But this is the battle that everyone is wanting to see at the moment. Rossi Banham and Reece Peacock trying to have a scrap for second place. 0.3 of a second that lap, the gap between them. We have two lots to go, and that is a rider stopped at the side of the track. That is, not too sure which driver that is, as we now see that is Noah Guillory, who was stopped at the side of the track. So not too sure what's happened there. Maybe the bike was stalled, maybe the chains come off, we're not too sure. But this is again Banham and Peacock still tooth and nail together for this P2. Either way, hopefully, no matter where they finish at the moment, they will both get a podium, so they don't need to push too much. But I'm sure you try telling a racing driver to back off, I don't think they'll like that. But yeah, Rossi Banham and Reece Peacock here. So coming into the final corner to start, we are Philip Sorowiak is on the last lap, so this is the last lap of this race. So can Peacock do anything? Oh, what a move on the inside there of Rossi Banham, I believe that was. I think yes, but I think Peacock might have just got that position from Rossi Banham. Absolutely fantastic there, as these two are going absolutely tooth to nail. Absolutely sensational. There we go. So Philip Sorowiak commands this race with, it could be, if he gets his foot down, he could win by over a 10-second margin. So here we go into the final corner. It's going to be a dominant race for Philip Sorowiak, who wins round 1 of the Extreme 200 race. Who is going to win between Rossi Banham and Peacock? Let's have a look. Oh, it's tooth and nail. That's side by side going over the line. Wow, it's going to be Peacock who takes P2 away from Rossi Banham. Absolutely sensational stuff on the final lap. What absolute drama there, as we see both of them giving each other a bit of a fist bump there and saying well done. Absolutely sensational there. That is two races in 2 laps. Noah Guillory A great race for him. Hopefully he got going again. After that, what a fantastic race there, though. So we see Filip Suriviak takes the win very commandingly. So by, so close, 9.917 seconds to Reece Peacock, who took P2 away from Rossi Banham on the last lap. So Reece Peacock in second, Rossi Banham still gets a podium. A very good job from him, P3. Ollie Walker, P4, Zach Turin, P5, Chris Wells, P6, and Jake Archer from the back finishes P7 in the 47. Fantastic. Sean Whittaker, P8, Charlie Nesbitt, P9. Fantastic there from him. And round out the top 10, Clayton Edmonds, Adam Redding in P11, Jack Andrews, P12. Maybe not so much of recovery for him after that little incident. As we said, Jack Andrews in P12, Noah Gullery in P13, and it did not start for Jamie King. Not too sure what happened there. I'm not sure whether he made the grid or not. Maybe he had a problem. I'm not too sure. As we see the riders going back in. And now we are seeing the riders for the next event, which is the AC40 Rookies Championship. Now, Lewis, this is a fantastic championship to watch.
Yeah, it certainly is. This is where the riders start. From 6 years old, they can enter the AC40 Rookies, and some of these riders, it may only be their first ever race of their life, but most likely it'll be, I think, their fourth race of their life, with them racing in round 1 at Lyd. But it's the stepping stone of many steps in the racing careers. This is where it all starts. This is where they learn how to ride a bike. This is where they learn how to get confidence. This is where they learn to race with people and get racecraft. It is where they learn literally almost everything. You can see on the grid right now the parents on the grid, giving them a friendly face to look at, a final reminder of what to do with the lights. Remember not to jump the start, wait till the lights go out. As we see Taylor Tomlinson will start from second place with Sebastian Gieslowski on the 64 bike on pole position for this race. But yesterday, these two riders had an amazing battle all the way throughout. It was incredible to see. I think everyone at home enjoyed this race. It was a great opening round of the championship to set off here at Llandow. Yeah,
absolutely. These riders are really, I think, excited. This is the first of the race 2s. So this is race 5. Absolutely fantastic to see these riders going around to the grid. Yeah, so fantastic. So let's do a rundown here. Sebastian Gieslowski takes pole position. Taylor Thompson alongside him on the front row. On the second row of the grid, we have Logan Cousins and Seth Hayward. Tyler Hartley starts P5 with Preston Baker alongside him on the third row. Then Archie Hooper starts P7. Nicholas Dunwoody starts P8. Josh Perkins P9. And rounding out the top 10 is Kai Hawkin. Annabelle McCarthy starts P11. Max Johnson P12. Matthew Jennings P13. Caelan Ratcliffe in P14. Jensen Answell starts P15, and Daisy Holden starts P16. Peyton Richards starts P17 with Jensen Cedraz in 18th. Oliver Wilson starts 19th, and Danny Longhurst starts P20, and rounding out the final row of the grid is Freddie Taylor on his own. So, fantastic race here. What is going to happen in this race? Are we going to have 3 races in a row for last lap moves? Absolutely sensational. It really is going to be an interesting race. So let's have a look for these drivers. Gieslowski getting ready on pole there with the red and white bike with the blue helmet, alongside Taylor Tomlinson in the kind of orange and black leathers. Then P3, you see Logan Cousins there in the very nice white, bright fluoro yellow and blue bike with the matching leathers as well, with the white helmet. And then Seth Hayward in the number 15 with like a kind of a NASCAR style livery on the bike, which looks really cool. Obviously the bright fluoro yellow helmet is very interesting to watch. So watch for the first few rows. There is going to be a fantastic race. So ladies and gentlemen, here we go for round 5, race 5 of the AC40 Rookies Championship. Here we go, just waiting for the light to go red. There we go. So everybody watching the lights. And is it going to be a good race? I think so. Let's wait for the red light. There we go. Red light is on, and a little bit of a jump start there. And it's lights out and go, go, go. Fantastic start. A little bit of a jump start there from Taylor Tomlinson, potentially. And potentially a restart there, not too sure, as we see a great start from Taylor Thompson, obviously, because kind of a little jump start, and there is quite a few riders down, but they're all up immediately, which is just in the first corner. So all the riders up, which is good. There's bikes left, right, and centre on the track, but it's good nonetheless. So obviously Tomlinson kind of took the lead there. I think he just got a little bit too excited, potentially. No, I think that might have been Gazlowski, actually. I'm not too sure who had the jump start. Yeah, I think it was Gazlowski that had the jump start. But a very, very interesting. So we're still looking round. Yes. So the session has been red flagged. So the session has been red flagged. So not really the best start to the race there, Lewis.
Yeah, it's not, but this is where it gets tricky for these riders. Of course, they have very little race experience, and now they need to go from the adrenaline of a race start to then calming down a little bit more as they wait to go on the grid and do it all over again. It's such a difficult thing to do, to be able to get refocused. So you see the riders fist bumping there, showing the respect to each other, enjoy the battle maybe in the first lap with each other. They're all friends in this class, they're all learning with each other. It's literally like school, but better. All these riders will be loving life right now. They'll be loving their time, they'll be with their mates, they've been spending all weekend with them, but now they just need to settle down, get refocused, have a breather as we wait for this restart of the rookie race.
Yeah. So obviously a very interesting start there for this race. Obviously there is 21 riders in this championship though, so there's bound to be a little bit of drama every now and then as we see the riders looking at each other, having a little bit of a chat, maybe talking about what they had for breakfast or something like that, just trying to calm down and get their heads out of as Lewis said, trying to calm themselves down. But yeah, Lewis, you're a motorcycle rider, as we see a few waves there to the camera, which is lovely to see. But yeah, Lewis, you're a motorcycle rider. What's it like, especially on a first lap incident where something like this happens, then you have to calm down?
It's probably the worst thing that can happen. You're just so excited, your adrenaline's flowing right through your body, and then suddenly it's just, oh God, the red flag's out, you need to come back into the pit lane, your mindset goes in a complete utter different place, and it means on the restart the results from the first run of the race can be completely different, because some riders might be out of focus, they may not be up to speed, they may be unready for the restart. So we do not know yet if there'll be another warm-up lap. We'll just have to wait and see with that one. We should be able to tell with the marshals pointing up to the lights if we are going to go racing. As we wait for a few riders just to come round to the grid that got stopped further around the track whenever there was red flag. I believe some of them may have been also involved, so it's great to see that they're back out in the race. Preston Baker there lining up in 6th position. Of course, brother of Harley Baker. You can tell with almost identical bikes, although Harley does race in the Metro kits. It's the same livery on a smaller bike with, of course, a smaller rider on it as his younger brother. But we wait for this restart of this race. Sebastian Gazlowski winds up in pole position with Taylor Tomlinson in second place. Sebastian Gazlowski, just 6 years old, it's great to see these riders with. As we see, they look up to the lights. We wait for the lights to go on. This will be the restart. Lights are on and lights are off for the AC40 rookies. Great start by Taylor Tomlinson. Taylor Tomlinson leads the way to turn 1 with Sebastian Gazlowski in second place. Slotting in behind, I believe, is Seth Haywood as he get round the first section of this track, this fast and technical chicane. Sebastian Gazlowski is going to want to try and catch up as fast as he can to Taylor Tomlinson. Will we see a battle like yesterday, Alex?
I hope so, and I think the battle's like today as well, with all the absolute drama we've had, potentially a last lap drama. This is why we love racing like this, because it is so close, so equal, and the only thing that matters is the riders and the riders' talent. just shows just what the bikes can do. So yeah, Taylor Tomlinson takes the lead there from Sebastian Gazlowski, Seb Hayward in P3, Logan Cousins in P4, Tyler Hartley in P5, Preston Baker in P6 as they all start coming down this Spitfire straight, which we love. And is there going to be a dive bomb for first place? No, there's not. Just a little bit too far back is Gazlowski. I say that, but he's trying to do the cutback on Taylor Tomlinson, but Tomlinson just is in the lead. He's trying to go on the inside, and there is a ride it down.
Who's in fourth place right now, running number 93, which may be inspired by another motorcycle racer out there. But Seth Hayward still in third place. He'll be happy with that. But I believe this is a battle for fourth place right now between Preston Baker and Tyler Hartley. Preston Baker will not let this go up easily as we get past Seth Hayward. I believe that's Harley Baker into third place. Preston Baker, is in third place. Harley Baker, of course, is his brother. But Seth Hayward is going to be wanting to try and get that third place back from Preston Baker. As we go down to the final corner, it looks like he's made a move. Seth Hayward takes back third place before the line. It looks like Preston Baker ran slightly wide coming out that final corner, leaving the door open for Seth Hayward. With just 4 laps to go in this race, what is going to happen as you see Sebastian Gazlowski has also set the fastest lap of the race with 49 flat. That is an incredible lap there from him. He has bridged the gap by 9/10 that last lap from Taylor Tomlinson.
Yeah, absolutely. Another rider to watch at the moment is Annabelle McCarthy. She's gone from P11 to P8 in this race so far. But yeah, this is a fantastic battle between Tomlinson and Gazlowski. Only second splits them now. But it is going to be a very, very interesting race again to see within these 4 laps that we now have left of this race as they go through the left-hander, the right-hander onto the back of the Spitfire straight. These drivers are all, the riders are very, very close together. I think, that's Seth Hayward trying to go for quite a defensive line there, but obviously he doesn't want to go too defensive because he needs to carry the speed through. You see Preston Baker trying a bit of a wider line to try and carry a bit more speed, but that is Tyler Hartley that is really, really pushing Preston Baker for 4th position there. Is he going to be able to make a move on this lap? He's very, very close. His front fairing is practically on Baker's rear wheel, so this is going to be a very, very interesting battle to see if if he can make a move on the back of Preston Baker. So that is the number 15, Seth Hayward, currently in the podium position. So these three riders are now battling for a podium position. It's going to be very, very interesting to see who comes out on top, whether it's going to be Seth Hayward, Preston Baker or Tyler Hartley. All of them very, very, very close together, very equally matched as we see the number, I think it's 27, I think. No, it's Tomlinson, sorry, it's number 77. So the lighting was making it look a bit strange. Taylor Tomlinson, obviously in the lead. Kozlowski just crosses the line now, as we now get the trio of Seth Hayward, Preston Baker and Tyler Hartley, all crossing the line together by just over a second. Splits them three riders.
Yeah, Taylor Thompson's still in the lead now. It's a 1.3 second gap, so Sebastian Kozlowski has put down that gap from Taylor Tomlinson, but the real battle seems to be for the final podium position right now. But Taylor Tomlinson will not care about that. His last lap was his actual personal best, around 1 second faster than Sebastian Kozlowski. So Kozlowski might have just made a slight mistake there, as of course all these riders are still learning. As we have a look there at the number 12 Archie Hooper in a battle with Nicholas Dunwoody. So there's battles all the way throughout the field in this class, and it's great to see so many up and coming talents. As mentioned earlier, this is where they start, this is where talents of the future are, as Taylor Tomlinson takes the last lap flag. There's traffic in front of him though, so how will he be able to navigate through this? He gets past one bike there on the final lap of this race. Kozlowski will also have to navigate through this traffic, so this race may not be over yet. Taylor Thompson goes round the outside of the back markers as he heads into his technical hairpin loop. Taylor Tomlinson comes round. He has a small loop behind him. We'll see that Kozlowski is a decent, substantial gap, that all he needs to do is bring it home. Taylor Thompson, it's been a great ride, as has Sebastian Kozlowski. Both riders showing extreme confidence for these rookie riders that have very, very little experience, as we are on the final set to this track, going around with just one more corner to go. All their legs will be tucked in, every single body part will be tucked in, trying to get as slipstream as possible, heading around the final corner of this race. It's been a superb race from Taylor Thompson as he takes the checker flag to win the race. So Sebastian Kozlowski closely behind in second, but who will get third place? As we wait and see, it will be Seth Hayward. Seth Hayward gets third place. He will be delighted with that, with Preston Baker in fourth and Tyler Hartley getting the fifth place. So that free battle for third place will end just how it started, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic there. And I think, I'm not sure if Dunwoody managed to gain a place there on the last lap. But yeah, fantastic race there. We can see Taylor Thompson giving a little wave, there. Oh, that is one of the riders just stopping there on track, just going over the start-finish flag there. So that was Max Johnson there in the number 141. So top 10 of that race. Taylor Tomlinson wins that race by just over a second from the back of Sebastian Kozlowski. Seth Hayward finishes in P3, the final podium position. Preston Baker just behind that in P4. Tyler Hartley in P5. Nicholas Dunwoody finishes in P6. Hooper starts in P7. Annabelle McCarthy, a great ride from her, starts at P8. Logan Cousins manages to get up in P9, and P10 is Josh Perkins. Yeah, a fantastic race there. You know, all the races we've had today have been absolutely incredible. Moves been made left, right, and centre on that race as we have got the riders coming back into the pit lane to get a bit of water, to get some refreshments before their next race a little bit later on in the day. So the next race, as we can see just in the background there, the bikes coming into the paddock, is the Mini GP70. Now this is the Premier Championship, the one that everyone is waiting for. It's the sponsored by title sponsor LS2 Helmets. Sponsor this. There we go. The LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 Championship. Absolutely fantastic there. And yeah, it's certainly Premier. We can see on screen there one of the riders being spoken to by the family. Then we can we can see all the drivers. We can see in the paddock. It is just filled with blue smoke. Obviously, blue smoke coming out of the back is burning oil. So obviously, because these are true stroked engines, there will be a lot of that, especially on the starting grid. So this race will be 12 laps, 12 lap race for the GP70s. And obviously this, Lewis, this is on the road to MotoGP, and the riders from here can get talent spotted for the British Talent Cup.
Yeah, this is usually the final step in these riders' FAB-Racing careers, really, before they usually move on to series such as the British Talent Cup, as I believe they start to make their way onto the grid before their warm-up lap. But this, as just like the many GP50s, this is packed with talent, and there's a lot of bikes in this race. It's great to see so many young riders on this grid. I see Luke Fitch with his hand up. I believe he may have stalled the bike there on the grid, because of course these bikes do have clutches. He'll be awaiting maybe some help there from an adult, but an adult is now coming to help him to try and get that bike bump started, a push. But as mentioned before, this is the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70s British Championship. This is the premier class here at FAB Racing. We see many riders, 13 riders on this grid. It was just great to see Noah Gilroy, of course, just been out in the Extreme 200 class, so he has extra bike time this weekend, both in the Mini GP70s and the Extreme 200. But as we wait, now they're on their warm-up lap, as we have a look at the grid, with Ethan Sparks starting in pole position, with Ronnie Harris in second, Henry McCartney in third, with Samuel Munson in fourth, Luke Fitchett in fifth, with Marco Holt starting in seventh, Joshua Williams in 8th, Ruben Bray in 9th, Blake Wilson in 10th, Ollie Simpson 11th, Noah Gilroy, as mentioned, in 12th, and Hayden Whiteman rounding off the grid in 13th. And now Marco Holt, of course, just won the Mini GP50s with an absolute domination, so he'll be wanting to try and somewhat repeat that in the Mini GP70s. But I do know that at the start of the weekend, Marco Holt went out for their practice sessions on the Friday, only to realise that their engine had seized, and because that, they spent all of Friday and all of yesterday in the qualifying running in the engine, so they had to run it slightly richer. So Marco Holt was on the back foot in qualifying, which is why he's slightly further down the order than what we're used to seeing him.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see the number 62 and the number 66 line up on the front row of the grid. It's going to be a very, very fantastic race. Let's see who can have a good race between Ethan Sparks and Ronnie Harris, obviously starting on the front row. These two do have quite a good rivalry in this championship. It's very, very, very interesting to watch, as we're just getting the final okay from the marshals before we can go green and the lights can go off. And just as we say that, there we go, we get pointed to the lights, waiting for the red light. Here we go, ladies and gents, there we go, the red light is on, and it's lights out and go, a fantastic quick start there from Ethan Sparks. He does an absolutely sensational start there and manages to get that. Ronnie Harris is under pressure for P2 from Henry McCartney and Samuel Munson for second place here. Obviously, look at all these bikes. It's absolutely sensational just to see how quick these bikes are. Ethan Sparks has a very good lead from Ronnie Harris and McCartney in third place. So far, it's looking very, very, very good so far. Very clean, which we like to see, especially in bike racing. Number 62 there, coming through this left-right chicane. Oh wow, what a satisfying shot there with all the riders. All the riders turning their bodies to go into the corner. So here we go down the Spitfire straight, and just as quick as it starts, it is quick and it is over. So it's going to be Ethan Sparks that leads this race from Ronnie Harris, Henry McCartney in P3, Luke Fitcher in P4, Samuel Munson down to 5th place, Blake Wilson starts P6, Marco Holt up to P7, Joshua Williams in P8, Ollie Sims P9, Ruben Bray in 10th, and Noah Gilroy in P11. And rounding out the top 12, or the 12th on the grid, is Hayden Whiteman.
Yeah, Ethan Sparks had a great start. It's exactly what he wanted. Of course, last year's champion, Ronnie Harris, in second place. He'll be wanting to try and just pile on the pressure. But if you joined us at Lid for the Mini GP 70s, you will see that it was like a motor-free race. It was a complete train of bikes. There was nothing separating them. It seems to be in race 2 of the Mini GP 70s that something very, very similar is happening. As you see the Rangers coming round the final corner as we go with 9 laps to go now in this race, with Ethan Sparks still leading the way, just set the fastest lap of the race with 48.5. But Ronnie Harris in second place was about 20 thousandths of a second slower. So there's nothing in their lap times. They're almost identical, which is what's so great about the Mini GP classes, is that these bikes are practically identical, leaving it all to the rider. As I believe Ronnie Harris is looking to try and get down the inside, as we have a look at Henry McCarthy there on our screen. But Ronnie Harris is starting now just to properly pile on the pressure on Ethan Sparks. But Ethan Sparks is last year's champion. He won the championship here at Llandow, so I do not think he'll be phased. Ethan Sparks knows how to control the pressure, so it's all on Ronnie Harris to try and find a way past, which is very, very difficult on the former champion.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the reason that he's had to stay here is because Ethan Sparks is actually too young to move on, so he's still giving this another go. But the fastest lap actually has been set by 8th place Joshua Williams with a 48.346. The fastest lap, or the lap record, is set by Ethan Sparks. It's a 47.3, so only a second off, and we're only maybe 3 or 4 laps in, so 8 laps to go at present. Ethan Sparks again having I think manually only 2/10. You know, these drivers, 1 second splits the first 4 drivers, so it just shows just how close this is. We see Joshua Williams there, who has set the fastest lap of the race so far as they all come down the Spitfire straight. It's incredible just to see the speed of these GP70 bikes. They are incredibly fast, and that is Henry McCarthy trying to gain on the back of Ronnie Harris. A very, very, very close battle there. There's just a massive gaggle of cars there. I think that goes up to about maybe 7th place, I think, which is absolutely incredible watching these bikers go around. Ethan Sparks is actually being gained on by Ronnie Harris, and so he's been gained on by McCartney, and same all the way down to about Michael Holtz, I believe. That is a massive look at the absolute gaggle of cars that we can see there. But Ethan Sparks into the left, into the right, into the left, and look at that, what a shot that is. I absolutely love that shot, my favourite shot on the track, as we see them all go down Spitfire straight. Incredibly fast cars. You know, these cars have got a 6-speed gearbox and capable of 100 miles an hour. Yes, you are being around 100 miles an hour on this kart track for these bikes. It's absolutely incredible just to see how quick these are. So going over the line, once again, we have Ethan Sparks, who is leading this race. Not by much, though, from Ronnie Harris. Henry McCartney in P3, Luke Fitchett P4, Samuel Munson P5, Blake Wilson 6th, Michael Holt 7th, Joshua Williams P8, Ruben Bray P9, Ollie Sims P10, Noah Gullery in P11, and Hayden Whiteman in P12.
Yeah, as you said, Joshua Williams setting the fastest lap of the race. And Joshua Williams was actually a World Mini GP finalist, which is great to see whenever they had the race in Valencia. So they flew him out all the way to Valencia just to race in the Mini GP World finalist. So it was great to see the amount of talent that is in this grid. And you can see that they're all so talented because there's nothing in them. They are absolute heel to toe. From first all the way to about 8th or 9th. There's nothing separating them. Ethan Sparks still his way, but Henry McCartney had just set the fastest lap with a 48.1. Now, that is an incredible lap time for so early in the morning. We're not too far off the lap record now, just about 7/10 off the lap record, and they're going to be wanting to try and push as hard as they can with just 5 laps to go. Ronnie Harris is still in second place, still trying to find any way past Ethan Sparks, but Ethan Sparks is making it so difficult. I mean, Ethan Sparks is pinpoint accurate everywhere in the circuit. He knows how to ride this bike, he knows how to ride his circuit, he knows how to handle pressure, which is why he is out front right now. He is the only reigning champion to return to the Mini GP 70 Championship, so can he be the first to do the double? We see Ronnie Harris getting in second place from Ethan Sparks. Ronnie Harris finally found the way past Ethan Sparks. This may be a game-changer point in the race. Can Ethan Sparks bite back straight away? It looks like Ethan Sparks looking up the inside of the back section of the circuit. As we head round to the chicane, Ethan Sparks is trying to find a way past. Will he try to line up a move down the Spitfire straight to the final corner of the track, which is a hairpin? It screams a diving opportunity. Will Ethan Sparks do it? Ethan Sparks is looking up the inside. Will Ethan Sparks make the move? Yes, he will. He's pushed Ronnie Harris slightly wide. Ethan Sparks now leads the race. He has got the lead of the race back with just 3 laps to go. Ronnie Harris can taste blood. Ronnie Harris is trying as hard as he can to get past Ethan Sparks straight away. Ronnie Harris knows that he has the pace to keep up with him. As you see a back marker starting to get into play now, but luckily they got out of the way. I believe that is Hayden Whiteman there that got past and kept his line and got out of the way and not affected the race, but Ethan Sparks leads the way still with just 3 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I don't know about you, Lewis, but there's 3 laps to go. I'm not sure I'll be able to make it to the end if this race continues like this. So Ronnie Harris has already proven to Ethan Sparks that he can get past him. So I think it's more of a sort of a mind game thing now. So where is Ethan Sparks going to go? Is he going to be close enough? No, he is not on this particular occasion. Ronnie Harris stays in second and Ethan Sparks is in first place. The first, second, third, fourth, fifth bikes go over. Blake Wilson takes P6 away from Marco Holt as we'll see Joshua Williams go over the line. But yeah, this battle between first and second is absolutely incredible. It just shows this racing is incredible. It really is. It's a lot better than a lot of other bigger championships in my opinion. It's fantastic. So as we see Ethan Sparks staying ahead only less than 3 tenths as we now see Harry's getting very close there going into this little section here. I'll say that, but McCartney's right on the back of Ronnie Harris now. So what on earth is going to happen here? Could we go even 3 wide? Oh, McCartney is a lot closer to Harris, and Harris is into Sparks, but now Fitchett is getting involved as well. Look at this. They are going side by side. This is the last lap of the race. The riders are being shown the black cross on the yellow flag, which does signify the last lap of the race. Can Ethan Sparks hold on? Can Ronnie Harris make a move with Ethan Sparks? Can he take the win away from this? I sense a very good end here as we see a very close move here. Ethan Sparks managing to hold on now as we come down to the chicane just before the Spitfire straight. It's going to be very important for Harris or McCartney to set up a move in this section here to get the fastest speed down this straight. Here we go down the Spitfire straight then as we see these 3 riders together. Is there going to be a move? It doesn't look like it, or potentially. No, it's not. It's going to be Ethan Sparks that comes round the first corner and he is going to win the second race of the Mini GP70 race sponsored by LS Helmets. Ronnie Harris comes in second place. Henry McCartney takes the final podium position away from Luke Fitchett, who finishes P4, Samuel Munson in P5, Blake Wilson in P6, Marco Holt P7, Joshua Williams P8, Ruben Bray P9, Ollie Sims P10, and Noah Gullery P11 with Hayden Whiteman in 12th place. Lewis, another sensational finish. How about that?
Yeah, Ethan Sparks just didn't crack underneath the pressure as we thought, and as you can see, all riders right now are pretty happy with that. They know that the top 5 or 6, even the top 7 can all fight for the victory, because Marco Holt, although he finished in 7th place, he got the fastest lap of the race. So it just proves that although it's no matter what position, they're still fast. Ethan Sparks takes the race win by 3/10 of a second, with Ronnie Harris in second place, with Henry McCartney third, Luke Fitchett in fourth, with Samuel Munson in fifth, Blake Wilson in sixth, with Marco Holt in seventh, Williams in eighth, Ruben Bray 9th, and rounding out the top 10 we have Sims. But that was an incredible race there from Ethan Sparks. Ethan Sparks will be absolutely delighted with that result. Henry McCartney was there or thereabouts all race, sitting in third place. It looked like he had the pace at one point to make a massive impact on the race, but there's still one more race for these riders later on. The track conditions going to be hotter for them, and they're going to be able to even get further down in lap times as we wait for the riders just to come into the pit lane, and then we can get underway with the next race, which I believe is the Moto Team.
Yeah, absolutely sensational was that race. You know, this championship just keeps giving and giving and giving. You know, we've had so many last lap dramas so far, and it's absolutely sensational. Absolutely sensational to see these as we see the Moto Team riders coming on to the grid. As we see, I think that's Will Howarth and Darren Anderson on the front row of the grid.
Yeah, Darren Anderson and Will Howarth had a great race yesterday. It was absolute heel to toe. There was nothing separating them, even though they're on two completely different style of motorcycles. They were completely equal, and it was an incredible race from both riders. I mean, I do believe we'll see something very, very similar today. There's a complete mix-up in this grid. There's talent as well packed all the way throughout the grid. It should be a great race to watch, and definitely the top 3 or 4 can fight for victory, even the top 5, even the top 6, because in 6th place it's the last year's champions, which is on Jamie King's bike. Now if you look at that bike, you'll notice Jamie King is not on that bike if you know what his iconic levers look like, and that is because in this class, and whenever we look at the grid sheets and on the graphics, it is not the person that is riding the bike that you see on your starting grid. It is actually the owner of the motorcycle. So in first position we have Darren Anderson in pole position with Will Howarth in second, Jason Puig in third with Dominic Gardiner in fourth, Ian Jackson in fifth with Jamie King in sixth, Jack Andrews in seventh, Phil Maplebeck in eighth, Scott Jewett in ninth, Iona Glover rounding out the top 10, Elliot Newton in 11th, Madison Martlew in 12th, and Charlie Ems in 13th, rounding off the grid for this Moto Team class. As we wait for the riders just to head round the one warm-up lap that they get put on the dummy grid and then put on the warm-up lap, just so the riders know where they're starting and get familiarised with that. So then as soon as they do their warm-up lap, they can go into the grid and get started without too much faff about. So we see the final riders just coming round to the grid now, so we can get started for what should be a very, very exciting race. Darren Anderson on pole position with Will Howarth in second. Will it be a different outcome from yesterday? There was absolutely nothing separating them as the marshal points up to the lights. Everyone stares at the lights, revs belt, tension belt, the lights on, the lights off, and we go racing. It was a great start there from Darren Anderson, but Will Howarth takes the lead in first place with going taking the inside line. I believe that is a crash there for one of the Suzukis. Yet to know what rider that is, but the rider's clearly frustrated about what has happened. But Will Howarth leads the way from Darren Anderson. Darren Anderson will want to take back that victory. He will not go down lightly, as we see a red flag is now out. So just like the rookie race, riders now have to get a complete different mentality and get so for this restart of the race, which should be happening very soon, as I can tell you that the riders up on their feet, as you can see now. So we're just waiting for the riders to come back round pit lane for the restart of the race.
Yeah. You know, it's a very interesting start to the race. You know, Darren Anderson had rather a good start there. Obviously, Will Howarth in second place, and the top three of Jason Puig, who is in third place there. So as the riders come round to get back onto the grid for the restart of this race, but it certainly is a difficult race to commentate, isn't it, Lewis? It's a very difficult race because obviously, as Lewis said, the riders aren't necessarily the names on the timing screens, so it does get a little confusing for us in the commentary booth every so often. But it's a fantastic race to see. You know, these bikes do look really cool. You know, some of them, especially Darren Anderson's bike does look very different, just because he doesn't run the front fairing like a lot of other drivers do. As we see them coming on to the start grid again, yes we do. Will Howarth is the first. Darren Anderson starts on pole position again. So yeah, it's a very interesting championship. This, you know, it's these bikes look really kind of cool. You know, they are a lot bigger than the mini motors, to say the least, as you can tell on here. So as the marshal points to the lights, just waiting for the red light to come on screen. There we go. The red light is on. Its lights out, and go! As we see Darren Anderson getting a fantastic start there, but Will Howarth, I think, yes, Will Howarth just keeps the lead of the race with Jason Pooh in P3, Ian Jackson in P4, Jim King P5, Phil Maplebag in P6, Jack Andrews P7, Scott Jewett P8, Elliot Newton P9, Iona Glover in P10, and then it is Madison Martin in P11, Charlie Ems in P12, Dominic Gardner in P13. So as we see the riders coming round this section here into the very technical part of the circuit here. Here they go into the right-hander, into the left-hander just before the Spitfire straight. Let's see if any of these drivers can maybe send a move into the final corner. Let's have a look. No, it seems to be Darren Anderson, Will Howarth, who has retaken the lead. These two are having a fantastic scrap, and I think yes, it's going to be Will Howarth who does take the lead away from Darren Anderson, and Jason Pugh in P13, Ian Jackson P14, Phil Maplebag and Jack Andrews upper position. Jamie King has lost a few positions there.
Yeah, Jason Pugh will be just hoping that Will Howarth and Darren Anderson do what they did yesterday, and that is fight and trip each other up, which is going to slow down their lap times and bring Jason Pugh back into play, which means we can potentially see a free bike battle for the win in this class, or even more. That's the great thing about this class. We just do not know what's going to happen. Will Howarth and Darren Anderson, throughout all of Lid and throughout all of Llandow so far, they have been inseparable. The race yesterday was crazy to commentate on. I mean, Will Howarth has shown great pace. He's not only racing in this class, he's also in senior mini motos, so he has plenty of experience in the track today. He knows what the track feels like, he knows what conditions are like out there. Darren Anderson is still just trying to get a feel of things, but Darren Anderson is not to be counted out yet. It's less than a second gap as we see Jason Pugh on the screen with Ian Jackson battling for that final podium position on the Suzuki and a Honda, I believe that is there, fighting for the final position in third. They will want that, they will fight as hard as they can for that. All throughout this grid there is battles everywhere. Even for the final position there's currently a battle going on. It is great to see so many different levels of talent and so many different types of bikes, but yet it still produces great racing.
Yeah, absolutely. As we were watching the battle with Jason Pugh and Ian Jackson for the final podium position here. Jason Pugh is the red bike with black leathers. As Ian Jackson, you can see, is a little bit more of a flare there with the blue and the green and the white. So it's quite easy to distinguish these two drivers there as they both come across the line. Are they going to be able to get a move done, or is Jason Pugh going to remain ahead? Will Howarth has set the fastest lap with a 51.289, which is a very fast lap indeed. Can Darren Anderson maybe match it coming into the next lap? 7 laps to go so far, as we now see a little move or an attempted move between the number 14. This is between Jamie King and Jack Andrews. Jack Andrews is the bike ahead. The number 1 is Jamie King there, as you can see. Team Jamie King, as we see. There we go. The Jack Andrews there, and the rider on Jamie King's bike is going very rapidly, trying to get some move there. As you see, Jack Andrews trying to come into the final corner. He does manage to stay ahead from Jamie King.
Yeah, Will Howarth actually on that last lap was, I believe, the first time this race that he didn't set the fastest lap. He is absolutely on it. Straight from the first lap, he set fastest lap, then fastest lap, then fastest lap. It is amazing to see. Darren Anderson is 1.5 seconds back now, so there's a decent sized gap. So Will Howarth will know, he'll maybe have a lot of look behind him on the circuit and be able to realise that right now the race is all in his control. It's all in his favour. All he needs to do is make it to the end of these 6 laps, which is about to be 5 laps as they come out the final corner of this Llandow circuit, and then makes it round to this first technical sector. This track is so technical, especially for these bigger motorcycles, as these bikes are road bikes basically with lights removed, some fairings put on it, or in Darren Anderson's case, fairings took off it and then they went racing. I mean, it's such a cost-effective way, as we have here at FAB. There's so much cost-effective and money-saving measures that are taking place, so then we can get these young, so we can get more young talents in, and people like this are able to have fun for cheap on a racetrack, which is all why we race. As we see Will Howard, coming through some back markers. I don't think it should hold him up too much as he managed to get past them on the straight, but this may play in Darren Anderson's favour as we head down. Will Darren Anderson get past the back markers well at the hairpin? Darren Anderson looks to be held up slightly there by one of the back markers, but Will Howard currently leads the way by 1.1 seconds now, so I believe he lost 4/10 there by getting held up by the back markers. This is where the race starts to get interesting as back markers come into play. As Will Howard, I believe he has an issue or he's missed the gear. Will Howard has slowed down and now Darren Anderson is retaking the lead of this race with just 4 laps to go. Yeah, I believe he just missed the gear coming out of that corner, maybe hit a false neutral. Will Howard is going to try and get the lead back straight away. Darren Anderson will be thinking all his Christmases came at once, but Darren Anderson runs wide. He looks to his right, he sees Will Howard has went back up the inside. Will Howard takes the lead of the race again as we head to the Spitfire straight with just 4 laps to go. Will Howard leads the way, but Darren Anderson is trying to get his slipstream, trying to get everything tucked in as we head down to the final corner. Darren Anderson taking a slightly wider line, trying to carry more corner speed on his 4-stroke motorcycle. These are 2 completely different styles of bikes as Darren Anderson has a massive moment there going into the first corner. His rear end flicked around slightly, he saved it, he's still in the race. He's going to try and regain his composure and go again and push. Will Howard leads the way now. The gap is widened. He will not know just yet, but he may have a little look round coming out of one of these hairpins, or he will just push on, try as hard as he can, push the bike to his limit. He will know there's nothing between himself and Darren Anderson. With just 3 laps to go in this race, Will Howard still leads the way.
Absolutely. Both drivers making mistakes there from both of them, which obviously is allowing them one to pass the other. There is 20 seconds between Jason Pugh and this battle for the lead of the race, which Will Howard currently leads. We've got Darren Anderson just in tow. They are no more than 3/10. Yes, they are 3/10 of a second. That must have been a very, very sketchy moment for Darren Anderson. Not too sure what he thought there coming into the first corner. Is very, very twitchy on the rear. As we see Will Howard getting his knee right down against the floor as he has to shift his body weight through the left-hander, through the right-hander. But this is Darren Anderson very, very close to the back of it now. I should say lack of fairing to that. And is Darren Anderson going to go on the inside? Yes, he is. What a move for the lead. Darren Anderson retakes the lead of this race, coming through the left-hander, now the right-hander onto the back of the Spitfire straight. Can Will Howard get a much better run? He's on the inside. They are side by side going down the Spitfire straight. Who is going to go into the lead? And the first corner, it's Will Howard. Wow, absolute sensation, but they're side by side again. Wow, I've never seen racing like this. This is fantastic. And it's Darren Anderson who keeps the lead of the race after a fantastic side by side move from Will Howard. And the best news is this is the last lap of the race. This is sensational. And there is a bad marker. Oh, is he going to hold up any of the riders? I don't think so. But Darren Anderson is still in the lead of this race. Can Will Howard do anything to try and get past him in side by side once again? This is absolutely sensational. Really, really fantastic, respectful racing between these 2 riders. This is absolutely incredible. Coming down into the Spitfire straight, I believe it is coming up. Yeah, as they go down, it could be side by side. Is it going to be side by side? No, it's going to be Darren Anderson who will take the checkered flag only by less than 3/10 of a second on that last lap. Absolutely sensational riding from both of those drivers there. Lewis, once again, last lap drama. Racing doesn't get any better than this, does it?
Yeah, it's been some great races today. Darren Anderson has won. Once again, Darren Anderson, the 133 bike, has won the race. He is absolutely delighted with this. He's waving to the crowd that is watching here. Will Howard will also be happy with second place, but we're just waiting for the last few rounds. Jason Pugh comes across the line with Ian Jackson getting 4th, Jack Andrews in 5th, Jamie King's bike in 6th. As we look, Darren Anderson takes the race win by just 3/10 of a second, with Will Howard in 2nd place, Jason Pugh in 3rd, Ian Jackson 4th, Jack Andrews 5th, Jamie King 6th, Phil Maplebeck 7th, Elliot Newton 8th, Scott Jewett 9th, and Madison Martlew in 10th. And once again, a quick reminder, that is the team owner and the owner of the bike that's name is up there, not necessarily the person riding it. But as you can see, first and second, talking over the race. Great camaraderie that they have here. They're good mates off track. It was such a good race. Darren Anderson, the first turn, just got the bike a bit out of shape. But one thing to remember is he is on a 4-stroke, Will However's on a 2-stroke. The 4-strokes have a lot more engine braking, while the 2-strokes have almost next to none. So when you're tipping in the corner on a 4-stroke, it is sometimes likely that the rear end is able to come round with just how strong the engine braking can be. While with the 2-stroke, you're using the brakes a lot more. It can be a lot more settled on the brakes, as you know, you just don't have that engine braking going for your rear wheel. As we have a look at the holding area for the next race that is coming up, which I believe will be the AC40 Pros, which is the step up and the next class up from the AC40 Rookies. And it's just their next step in their racing careers, and it's where they really start to find their feet and gain confidence in the motorcycle, and it always produces great racing because it is quite a big grid that we have here in the AC40 Pros. I believe that we'll have 15 riders on the grid today, with George Ackerman actually joining us for the Sunday. He was not out yesterday. I believe he was doing something else, so it's great that he's able to join us for today's race. Quick shout out to Ollie O'Gorman, which you can see in 8th place right now. He's got the green and yellow levers on and the green and yellow bike. He is, of course, Casey O'Gorman's brother. Casey O'Gorman doing amazing right now. Casey, if you're watching, if any of your family is watching, good luck from everyone here at FAB at Estoril for the European Talent Cup. Casey O'Gorman, of course, racing in lead in the Extreme 200s and been doing great things. Double podium, his first ever round at Portimao in the Red Bull Rookies, as the AC40 Pros head out on their warm-up lap. They're only one warm-up lap as we have a look at the grid, with Sam Gardner starting in pole position from Matthew Thomas, Byron Johnson in 3rd with Lewis Hull in 4th, Liam Ligonquist in 5th with Jensen Bishop in 6th, Chloe Gleeson in 7th with Ollie O'Gorman as mentioned in 8th. Oliver Hall, which had a test yesterday on the Mini GP 50s, getting ready for a potential future step up in the next coming months or next year, starting in 9th with Bethany Ashby in 10th, Dylan Tureen in 11th with Zach Penegar in 12th, Callum Maxwell in 13th with Chloe Sewell in 14th, and as mentioned, George Ackerman rounds off the grid in 15th, which is joining us for today's racing as they come down to the starting grid to get ready for this race, where they'll meet marshals, their family, their friends. They'll pull into their grid slots, get last words of encouragement, get last words of advice, check that everything's okay for the bike in that warm-up lap before they head off for what should be a sensational race. The riders just getting ready. We're just waiting for the final few riders to get into their grid slots, and all the marshals to make their way off the grid before they look up to the lights. And tension now is starting to build on the grid. You can feel it from here in the commentary box. Everyone's starting just to leave the grid now. The riders are on their own. We're waiting for the point up to the lights where everyone will look up to the light. The signal's at the back. They point up to the lights. All riders now have eyes on these lights. They're going to want a great start as we look for lights to come on. Lights are on and lights are out, and we are racing here. Looks like Sam Gardner got a superb start on the 56. Great start there from Sam Gardner, with Byron Johnston, I believe, in 2nd place, closely followed by Matthew Thomas, who of course was seen earlier on. Matthew Thomas in 3rd place right now, but Sam Gardner leads the way on his first lap of the race. I believe now Byron Johnston is in the lead of this race. What a superb start from 3rd place on the grid. Byron Johnston leads the race. Sam Gardner just behind him. I suppose that's a rider down there coming into the hairpin, but they're on their feet. As Sam Gardner is chasing Byron Johnson, wanting the 1st place, wanting this victory. Just 8 laps to go. I believe that is Ollie O'Gorman there, but he's managed to get a bike restarted as we head down Spitfire Straight. Sam Gardner is trying to find some way to get past Byron Johnson. He's going to want some way to get past with just 7 laps to go in this race. What a quick first lap. That has been so much drama, so much action. But Alex, you have it all to live for another 7 laps.
absolutely. I have no clue what happened to Byron Johnson there. Just absolutely flying from third on the grid to first. Has sensational couple of corners from him there, setting the fastest lap of a 55.601 on that first lap. So top 10 rundown. Byron Johnson leads this race away from Sam Gardner in P2, Matthew Thomas in P3, Liam Lindquist in P4, up to P4 I should say, Lewis Hull down to P5, Chloe Gleeson up to P6 with Oliver Hall in P7, Jensen Bishop down to P8, Dylan Twin P9, and rounding out the top 10 is Callum Maxwell in the 111 machine. What a fantastic few laps to this race. Byron Johnson absolutely on a flyer of a race for race 2 of the AC40 Pro Championship, as we see the first 3 drivers, 4 drivers, 5 drivers, all the drivers coming over the line at the moment. Oliver Hall has overtaken Chloe Gleeson for P6 in this race. Byron Johnson, another fastest lap on that lap. Absolutely incredible there. The lap record is a 52.6. Byron Johnson put in a 54.8 as we see Chloe Sewell there on track, best lap of a 1:04 at the moment, which is not too shabby at all. As we now see, go back to the action here. I think we're still on board with, we're still focusing on Byron Johnson and the battle of first place between Byron Johnson and Sam Gardner, with Matthew Thomas just a little bit into about a second behind this battle for first place. We see Byron Johnson and Sam Gardner. Sam Gardner just not close enough just yet to make a move yet, but we see he actually got a very good final corner there. Let's see what the gap has come down to. It's still 0.4 of a second back. The gap was exactly the same on that lap as it was on the previous lap. That's absolutely fantastic. Fantastic commitment from both drivers and very good consistency from these drivers as well. So Byron Johnson still leading this race in the very nicely multicoloured pink and practically every other colour on the rainbow, number 37 there, with Sam Gardner just behind with a bit more of an orangey look, which looks very aggressive indeed. The gap between both of them is still around 3 to 4 tenths of a second. Byron Johnson through the left-hander, through the right-hander, through the left-hander there, now the right-hander once again onto the back of the Spitfire straight. Is Sam Gardner close enough? Is a lot closer than last time. Yes, he is indeed. Is he going to be able to make a send? Just not this lap, but if he keeps on this pace, I can assure you, Lewis, he will next lap.
Yeah, so well, it looks like Sam Gardner's looking up the inside there going into the first chicane, but he cannot find the way past. Byron Johnson has absolute every single bit of the track covered. He does not want to give up this victory. He is also racing in the LC40 Elite Series. He has plenty of track time this weekend. He's had a great year so far at Lydia, some amazing results, and he's going to want to try and carry that momentum throughout the season. Sam Gardner is going to try and just keep piling on the pressure and hope that eventually they crack. But these riders, they are not rookies. They have experience. They know what it's like to fight for wins and fight for victories and fight for positions, and know what it feels like to pressures and how to be able to handle with the pressure. I believe on the screen right now that is Liam Lindquist down in 4th place right now. This is the battle for 3rd with Matthew Thomas currently leading the way in this battle. So right now in the field we've a battle absolutely everywhere. Every single battle, every single position on this podium is under threat. Matthew Thomas leads the way right now for that final position on the podium, but Liam Lindquist and Oliver Hull and Lewis Hull will not want to let that go easily. Byron Johnson, of course, still leads the way, but it looks like Liam Lindquist was having a little look up the inside there with Matthew Thomas. With just 3 laps going in this race, they may start to get a bit more impatient, start to make a bit more late lunges, but Matthew Thomas is not cracking right now. He is going as hard as he can. He's twisting the throttle as hard as he can. He's getting his braking markers absolutely perfect, but Liam Lindquist looks to make a slight mistake there getting out of the corner, but they head round towards the Spitfire straight for this 3rd place with just 3 laps to go. Byron Johnson leads the way from Sam Gardner. We can still see that battle raging on right now. Will Sam Gardner find any time in this first sector? He looked to be slightly faster last lap for his first sector of the circuit, but no, he cannot. There's just 2 laps to go, Alex. who do you think is going to get the victory?
Oh, well, after the races we've had today, you cannot call it at all. But Byron Johnson has a 2 second, then 2/10. Oh, and that is a rider falling down, just collecting his bike.
Liam Lindquist,
so that is Liam Lindquist that we believe has fallen, but he's back up once again. It's very, very nice to see. The yellow flags in the first set there, so he's gone down just after the first corner there. It's also really let's see George Ackerman. He's actually gained 3 positions from starting last on the grid in 15. So here we are. They are very close together. That's Sam Gardner going on the inside. Yes, it is. He takes the lead, but I say that Byron Johnson gets a beautiful switch back on him and retakes the lead. We're on the final lap once again. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to have an injury left for the next few races. This is absolutely incredible, the past few, as we see Sam Gardner trying to weave this way, that way to get past Johnson. Oliver Hall, Lindquist obviously has dropped down after that first lap incident. So now we see these top 2 drivers separated by just 0.2 of a second. Can Sam Gardner do anything to get past Byron Johnson? Byron Johnson pulling a few tenths there in the final few stages of this race, coming through this very technical, fast part of the track here, where he's going to come to a right, left and a right just before we get onto the back of the Spitfire straight. Yes, there we go. Into the left, into the right. Can Sam Gardner be able to get the slipstream? He looks a little bit too far back, but here we go. Can he make a last lap send? It's going to be a hell of a send if he does. Unfortunately not, but it is going to be Byron Johnson after another fantastic battle. Who will win this race from Sam Gardner in P2? The battle for third place is still on, and it's going to be Matthew Thomas, I believe, who is just going to win it. Yes, away from Oliver Hall with Lewis Hull. It's very confusing there. Hall and Hull in 4th and 5th. Chloe Gleason will finish a brilliant 6th place for her. Jensen Bishop in P7. Callum Maxwell, P8. Leland Chris 9th. And George Ackerman. Fantastic. He managed to gain 5 positions in that race, as we can see Byron Johnson, Sam Gardner and Matthew Thomas on the screen there. Fantastic drive there from George Ackerman, who was unfortunately not here yesterday, but he is now. He gained 5 positions on that race. In that race, I should say. And yes, a very, very another fantastic race. I think I'm going to need a few. I think I'm going to need a few energy drinks after that. So let's go through the top 10. Byron Johnson wins from just 0.4 of a second from Sam Gardner there. Matthew Thomas in P3, Oliver Hall in P4, Lewis Hull in P5, Chloe Gleason, as I said, brilliant 6th, 7th place for Jensen Bishop, 8th Callum Maxwell, Liam Lindquist after that little incident finishes P9, and George Ackerman a fantastic 10th place.
Yeah, it was a great race. Byron Johnson just taking the victory again, but Sam Gardner, it was just there. There's absolutely nothing separating them between every single race that they've been racing with each other. There's been nothing separating them. They are identical pretty much on lap times. I mean, their best laps, surprisingly enough, Sam Gardner has the faster lap out of the 2 with a 54.5, with Byron Johnson being 2 tenths slower. But Byron Johnson clearly just being a bit more consistent and be able to get the race win. But there was nothing separating them, as we have a look in the holding area right now for what is going to be, there's no other way to say it, Alex, but a crazy race. It's the Pit Bike 140s.
Absolutely incredible. We've got to a little while ago. There will be 32 bikes on this grid. 32 bikes, that's 16 rows on this grid. That's absolutely sensational. If there's one thing we know from the pit bikes, is that they do produce some fantastic races. We see all the riders there having a little quick chat before they come onto the grid of the race. And there's Tristan, a commentator with FAB, Tristan Finocchiaro, who currently resides in I think it's Barcelona, I think at the moment, he said. So it's lovely to see him out on track. Let's see if he can make some progress in this race. It will be a fantastic race. He's starting P14 at the moment, so let's see if he can progress any further, maybe even get a top 10. We know he is a talented rider. So we are just currently waiting. There's a few PA announcements at the moment, but currently waiting for one of the marshals to drop the flag and allow the bikes on track. So after this race, we will be going for a short lunch break, which I think is a relief to everyone in the paddock, because we have a jam-packed schedule today. So as we see, a plethora, an absolute plethora of pit bikes coming on to the pit straight at the moment, and it's incredible to see. I'm quite nervous for this race because there is a lot of bikes. We are going to get confused, I imagine, about who's leading, who's in whichever position. It's going to be a very, very interesting race. So there are 32 cars on bikes on the grid. So I think we should start going through them now. As we see one of the bikes just having a quick chat to one of his friends there. I think that's Taylor Lawrence having a chat to Chris Wells as he takes his bike back. Oh, very nearly there. As we see Rossi Barham, he's back once again in another series for the PB140, the pit bikes. The pit bikes, as he gives us commentators a little wave in the office, as does Taylor Lawrence as well. Absolutely love to see. So Rossi Barham has pole position for this race, and Reese Peacock starts in P2. Taylor Lawrence starts in P3 and in P4 is Chris Wells in the number 62. Darren Anderson is in P5 in the number P56. Then P56, number 56, Lucas Brown in P7, Nathan Riggy in P7, Charlie Nesbitt in. That is an incredible sound as I'm going through the grid. Absolutely sensational. Wow, you can really hear those engines. It vibrates through you. It's absolutely sensational. So Nathan Riggy starts P8, Charlie Nesbitt P8, Cameron Sewell P9, Jimmy King at P10. Sean Whittaker P11, Marco Pandolfo is in P12. Jake Archer in P13. The commentator with us, Tristan Finaracchio, starts P14. Max Perry in P15. Zach Torian is in P16. Adam Redding P17. Giorgio Scalata in P18. 19. Mark Dudson in 19. Chadley Whiting in number 20. 21. Dominic Gardner. 22. Andrew Graham. 23. Roger Brooks. 24. Ben O'Keefe. 25, Keaton Bain. 26, Aston Dean. 27, Ollie Walker. 28, Dave Glover. 29, Powell Nosel. 30, Lewis Wild. 31, Harrison O'Keefe. And finally, wow, that was long, 30, the 32nd bike is the number 89 of Fraser Rogers. You can tell it's a long grid because they left the grid after I started, and they just get into the grid and finalising the grid, and I've just finished. So yeah, it's going to be an absolutely sensational race. Sensational race, as I said, as we see Rossi Barham trying to adjust a few things on his bike, getting himself into race mode with a very, very bright coloured, bright pink, blue, white, and all the other colours on the bike, the number 196. But he's going to be challenged by Reese Peacock in P2, and if they can get a good start, Taylor Lawrence, as we now see the lights are going on any second now. The lights are on, and it's lights out, and away we go. Rossi Barham gets a fantastic start, but Taylor Lawrence, a fantastic P2. Yes, he does. What a sensation. Oh, and there is a rider down. Two riders down at the first corner. But let's have a look at Rossi Barham. Jamie King was one of them. As we see viewers, we see them up and walking, which is good to see. Rossi Barham leads, but as we saw, Taylor Lawrence had a fantastic start there. A really, really fantastic start. We were watching it in the commentary box from there, and it was a fantastic. He even did a little wheelie off the line to get a bit more speed. Fantastic. So I'm not too sure. There we go. We can see Tristan Finocchio, and it is a red flag. This session has been red flagged just due to that incident. As we now see, I presume the drivers will just come round to the grid. But yeah, a very eventful start. You know, we were expecting something to happen. You know, the 32 bikes on this grid, so there's bound for something to happen. I think all the drivers just talking to each other, making sure everyone's okay. Yes, it's a very, very, very interesting start. As we can see, it's a good thing we can see the number 62 of Chris Wells and a few of the drivers of Peacock and Barham and Chris Wells having a little chat together. There we go. As you can see, someone doing a little circle in the back there, just doing a few little things just to warm up his tyres, I think. which is quite funny to see. As we say, an absolute splattering of cars. As we see the 272 there, we see the number 58, the number 21. We see a whole plethora of bikes. There is you just keep zooming out and you see more and more and more. I think that's Rossi Banham just going to have a look a little more. Which is very, very interesting to see all these cars together. Rossi Banham just going around making sure everyone's okay. He's giving a little wave, checking on everybody, which is lovely to see. As we see, I believe that's the number 40. It's quite difficult to tell. As we see the 07 machine of Lucas Brown at the front there. Rossi Banham just sticking at the back. I can't imagine he'll be there for long. He's a very, very, very quick rider. Is Rossi Banham, but I'm going to give Lewis a little go now. So what did you think of that race start? There was quite a lot of action, a fantastic start for Lawrence.
Yeah, it was exactly what I thought was going to happen. It was going to be complete and utter madness, as is the Pit Bike 40s usually. It was a crazy start, as we see on our screens right now. Charlie Nesbitt, which was just racing in the Extreme 200s with Jake Archer. Rossi Banham next to them, Tristan Finocchiaro in your picture as well. There's a lot of talent in this field, frankly. I mean, and it's a massive grid. We were expecting also Fraser Rogers to be racing in this race, but we can't see him on our timing screens, of course. An ex-Stock 1000 rider, multiple podiums, but he may be on the grid without a transponder. We don't really know yet, as we see Charlie Nesbitt talking to one of the officials right now. But everyone's kind of just waiting for this restart right now, which I don't think will be too long away. They'll all be just trying to get refocused, get the bikes refired up, a lot of them getting the kickstarters out, kicking it as hard as they can to try to get the bike started, which sometimes can be pretty difficult to do on these pit bikes. But they're all started, all giving waves to the camera. Some of them even having to push. Looks like Lucas Brown had to give his bike a little push there. Lucas Brown, actually, while watching the AC40 Pro race, he was at the side of the track cheering on the riders just before his own race, which just shows how much of a family atmosphere the FAB-Racing paddock is. But the riders are now lining back up onto the grid for this restart of the race. I do not believe there's going to be a warm-up lap by the signalling from the riders, from the officials. It looks like we will just go as soon as we start, as soon as the red light comes on. But Charlie Nesbitt, of course, fell off yesterday, and he fell off in the Extreme 200 race and remounted and still got a top 10. So it's going to be really interesting. Nobody can call this race as we wait for this humongous grid to fill up, and then we can go racing. One final check is getting made before we can go racing here. I believe it's signalled at the back of the grid, signalled at the front of the grid, points to the lights. We wait for the lights to go on. The red lights now appear on. They now go off. That was a very quick start there for Rossi Banham. Rossi Banham now gets away. It looks like Tristan Finocchiaro is stalled on the grid. He's kicking the bike, trying to get started straight, but Rossi Banham leads the way from Taylor Lawrence and Reece Peacock. Rossi Banham and Taylor Lawrence, there's nothing separating them. If you watched the race yesterday, there's nothing separating them. They're all the same. But as we see them leading the way for this first lap, there's going to be nothing separating all race. This is what it's going to look like all race. I can almost guarantee you this Pit Bike 140 class is so competitive. They will push each other to the grass in this race. They have no mercy, but they will happily laugh and joke about it off track. It's such a crazy atmosphere that we have here. They're tucking in every single part that they can, going into the final corner to finish this first lap of the race. An awful start was from Tristan Finocchiaro, which is of course in last place at the moment after stalling on the grid. It looks like this race will be just trying get more time on the bike, try get more experience on the bike, and just try salvage something out of it, really, because that is not what you want to do on the grid, is it, Alex?
No, absolutely not. No, it's going to be a very, very interesting race just to see where we can go from here. It's going to be very interesting. Taylor Lawrence obviously up into second place with a fast stop of That's a very fast lap, 1 second lap. A 51.189. As we see Rossi Banham having a great fight with Taylor Lawrence. Is Taylor Lawrence going to be able to do anything to get past Rossi Banham? Because that is not an easy rider to pass. Rossi Banham goes defensive and then sweeps to the outside to get as much speed as he can. It's actually kind of power sliding in a bike, which you don't see very often. As we see Taylor Lawrence just behind him. Taylor Lawrence sets the fastest lap again in 49.476 from him. A very, very, very interesting battle between these two drivers. We see Reece Peacock is only about 8/10 behind these two for the top two, but this is a fantastic scrap, between Taylor Lawrence, and this is going to be another fantastic lap. We've got 8 laps to go. Can Taylor Lawrence do anything? Can he maybe false or fake Rossi Banham into a wrong move or to a mistake or somewhere for defending? We will have a look and we will see. Taylor Lawrence is a very quick guy. Rossi Banham is a very quick guy, and it looks like he's going to go side by side. He's going to send it. Who's going to come out on top? It's Rossi Banham still ahead, but Taylor Lawrence might be able to get alongside. No, he doesn't. Rossi Banham does keep the lead of the race. A little bit slower laps from both of them that time around.
Yeah, it's so impressive to watch these riders. They have so much faith in their motorcycles, so much faith in their tyres and the track surface and their ability. I mean, although these are not the fastest bikes in the world, the commitment that you have to be at the front on one of these motorbikes is something that is just incredible. Rossi Banham still leads away from Taylor Lawrence, but Taylor Lawrence is so fast. He tried to make a move at the final corner there at the hairpin, but he couldn't make it work, which slightly compromised his drive. But just watch Rossi Banham go into his final corner. He uses the back brake, kicks out the rear end, and trail brakes into the corner. Look at that. He's using the leg slightly to balance it a bit more, make him get some sort of a feel from the track before he tips in and fires it out the corner. He leads the race. He set the fastest lap of the race with 49.4, but so did Taylor Lawrence. He set a 49.4. There's 30,000ths of a second separated them on that last lap. There's absolutely nothing in it. It is crazy to see Taylor Lawrence there you see in picture, slightly different helmet. I actually believe that is Rossi Banham's one of the spare helmets, because Taylor Lawrence was involved in an incident in today's warm-up and marked and scratched up his helmet beyond use. So I believe he's actually using one of Rossi Banham's old helmets, which just shows how good mates they are off track. But then on track right now, you can see there's nothing in between them. They want to get past each other. They have no mercy on track. They will make any move. Taylor Lawrence looks up the inside of the first corner, but he cannot make it work. Rossi Banham still leads this race. This is exactly what we've seen yesterday, Alex.
Absolutely, just what we've seen today as well. This is absolutely sensational. It's a move trying to go to the inside of Rossi Banham there, as we see them trying to navigate some back markers there as well. Rossi Banham trying to just get as much of a lead as possible. As you were saying about the environment, it really, really is nice to see all these drivers so friendly with one another. But as you say, on the track there is no mercy. There is no friendship on track between these two. They both want this win so badly, and I can't blame them, as they are so close coming into the final corner. Lawrence just not close enough to send one. It's incredible to see Rossi Banham coming through that final corner. It really, really is. Taylor Lawrence so close to him now, so unbelievably close, as they just come out of the first long chicane. It's or the long hairpin. It's fantastic to see these drivers just so fast. It really, really is. But Rossi Banham still in the lead at this moment in time. It really, really is fascinating to see just how talented these riders are, just how much they are willing to put down on the line. As we see Tristan there in 19th, unfortunately, after that stall on the grid, but he is certainly gaining a few positions, which is fantastic. He really has as well. Obviously, out of the 32 drivers that we have on this grid, he's already up to 19th. What a sensational ride from him, a recovery drive, damage limitations, if you will. Fantastic riders. We still see Lawrence and Banham once again together, as we see Rossi Banham at 49.229. This is absolutely fantastic to see, and I believe he has beaten the lap record by 1,000th of a second. The lap record being held by himself with a 49.229. He's just got a 49.228. I've never seen closer margins to a lap record before. It's like it's a time attack, which is absolutely fantastic. But that is Lawrence, who has taken the lead away from Rossi Banham. Rossi Banham will not be happy with that. Coming through the very technical part, can Rossi Banham get more? Can he get overspeed on Lawrence? Can he go faster? He's going for the inside. He goes for it. Is he going to come out on top? Yes, he is. But is Lawrence going to get the cutback? Yes, he is. They're neck and neck going over the line. It's going to be Lawrence. Oh, they're side by side. Absolutely sensational. It's a yellow flag been waved. Yellow flag has been waved, I think. Not too sure, but what a fantastic battle between these two. They were side by side. They were 0.03 of a second over the line from each other. They were side by side. That is such a fine margin. We have 2 laps to go in this race. Marshall getting the last lap flag ready. This is going to be absolutely sensational as you see a few changes for position between Charlie Nesbitt and Lucas Brown, and a few other drivers changing for position as well. This is going to be absolutely fantastic as they come into the final corner to start the last lap of the race.
Yeah, Rossi Banham leads going into his last lap of the race. He will be extracting every little ounce out of this bike. You've seen him the last lap. Taylor Lawrence sat on Rossi Banham in the first corner. There's absolutely nothing in, but now back markers get into play. Will Taylor Lawrence get past them quickly? Yes, he will. He will follow Rossi Banham. He will push to his absolute limit. They are trying. Oh, Rossi Banham saves the high side. Rossi Banham's rear end came round and re-gripped and flicked him up there, but he keeps on. Taylor Lawrence is right behind him now. Taylor Lawrence can smell blood, can taste blood. He's trying so hard through this final chicane, going into the right-hander before we go down the Spitfire straight for the final time in race 2 here at round 2 at Llandow. As we're trying, we're going towards the final corner. Rossi Banham takes a wire line, a sweeping line. He gets out of the corner. Rossi Banham wins. There's nothing in it from Taylor Lawrence. 1/10 of a second separates Rossi Banham and Taylor Lawrence at the line. Rossi Banham taking first place, Taylor Lawrence second, and Reese Peacock in third. What an incredible race there. Rossi Banham will be absolutely delighted, not only taking the race win and not only saving the crash, but taking his lap record by 1,000 of a second. I've never seen anything as close with breaking lap records. Rossi Banham doing a wheelie. He is absolutely delighted. Taylor Lawrence will be absolutely delighted. They can both appreciate a great race as we have a look at the top 10 with Rossi Banham, of course, taking the race victory by 1/10 of a second, and there is official confirmation of that fastest lap. Taylor Lawrence in second with Reese Peacock in third, Chris Wells in fourth, Darren Anderson in fifth, Charlie Nesbitt sixth, Lucas Brown in seventh, Jake Archer in ninth, Cameron Sewell in ninth, Jake Archer in eighth, and Sean Whittaker in rounding out the top 10. What an incredible race there. They will both be absolutely delighted, and there you see it, a cuddle, a fist bump. They both appreciate a great race, and that is what we love to see.
Absolutely. I tell you what, if we keep having these, if these races keep finishing like this, these are going to become the new boring races. I tell you what, absolutely sensational. We've had so many close finishes on the last lap. That was I will say that has got to be one of the best saves I've ever seen from Rossi Banham. They're so nearly high-sided and just supreme bike control, not to high side. They're fantastic, and a fantastic battle between him and Taylor Lawrence, and this time Rossi Banham comes out victorious, and again 1,000th of a second. He beats his lap record that he set here on the final weekend in October. 6 of the 9 series that we have, all lap records were broken last time we were here in obviously Llandow last October. That is a sensational lap from Rossi Banham. You can't even imagine 1,000th of a second. It's absolutely incredible. It really is. And I believe that is going to be the final race just before we have a little break. So I think we're going to go to a little bit of a break now. But Lewis, absolutely sensational racing from all of the races there. There must have been about 5 races that were decided on the last lap.
Yeah, it certainly was. And one rider there is Tristan Finocchiaro, which made it up to 14th position, which is actually where he started the race from. So although he stalled on the grid, he managed to make it up all the way from 32nd to 14th in the space of like 10, 12 laps. It's great to see. This class there's nothing in it between all the riders. Rossi Banham, of course, takes the race victory. They can both appreciate what is a great race. Although Taylor Lawrence lost and got second place, he will be probably just as happy as Rossi Banham. The fact that they were able to have that fight and able to have that race, and they'll both laugh about the fact that Rossi Banham almost high-sided, but he saved it. That was an incredible save. But I believe that is it for the moment as we go on a quick short lunch break, but we'll be back just after lunch for part 2, which I believe we'll be having the mini F1 sidecars to start the show after lunch, which is something completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've never watched sidecars, they are fantastic to watch. These three-wheeled little bikes with two riders on. Fantastic. But yes, thank you very much.
Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website, Motorsport Radio.